22nd consecutive crowd in excess of 100,000. But something is missing, folks. No Bo Schembechler on that sideline. Now, we'd like to introduce you to the newest member of the ABC sports team, young man from Canada. He's been impressive for us here in the Midwest for the last couple of weeks. And let's go down to Mark Jones. Mark?
Brent, you know, Bo Schembechler wasn't even sure that he was going to show up for the game today. He said that last week's game against Notre Dame was just a little bit rough on him. So whatever the case, it's no Mo Bo, and it's Gary's show now. It's time for Gary Moeller to do the right thing, so to speak. And he thought he was doing it this week when he banned us off from practice. Yes, even good old ABC was on the outside looking in. Now, him banning us from practice could mean a couple of things. First of all, could mean that he's a little uptight and a little tense from that Notre Dame loss, or Gary could be simply just trying to put his stamp on this Michigan team. Whatever the case, the players that I spoke with said that that Schembechler intensity is still there, but that, well, Moeller is really the man in charge right now. They realize that the edge is gone. Whether that's good or not remains to be seen, guys.
All right, Mark, thank you. You have seen doubly so for UCLA with the ball on the tee and the Michigan speed back deep to their wide receivers, Howard and Alexander. Michigan will handle the ball first.
Great kick.
They'll bring it out on the 20-yard line. What a spectacular kickoff that was. Not allowing Michigan a return. The wind has turned around and is now blowing right to left. Elliott will be the left guard. Matt Elliott for Ellis Gerbach. The man with all the consonants. Yugoslavian heritage. Now his backs. John Vaughn is the man who gained better than 200 yards against Lou Holtz at Notre Dame last week. Gerard Bunch, number 32, remember him. But there's the offensive line that Dick Vermeil raved about in our opening. Let's see if they just saddle him up here in the opening minutes and ride behind him with Vaughn and Bunch. Bunch goes in motion. That's what they'll do with Vaughn on first down. Great cut back to daylight. 40, 45, 50. Inside the 40-yard line with Carlton Gray catching him from behind. Dick Vermeil, the offensive line, opened the way.
They are so big as they come off the ball. You'll see they come off and they're zone blocking, meaning blocking man-and-man as well as area. He gets the cutback over pursuit. A little too excited, a little too intense right now, maybe trying a little too hard on defense. And we must also mention they're missing their fine run support safety, Matt Darby.
As they did against Notre Dame, Michigan will use the no huddle. It prevents a defensive assistant from sending in the substitutes that he might like in that situation. And he completes his first pass to the outside. Gerbach hitting Howard. And that's his high school teammate out of Cleveland. Let me introduce you to the defense, and we will talk about the big substitute. There, the middle of that line, Lawhorn will be substituted a lot. Now, at the linebacking spots for UCLA, and they need big games out of Shaw and Argo against that offensive line. Now, the defensive back. The man who is missing is replaced by Travis Collier. Dick, and what will that do to the UCLA defense?
Well, he's one of their best run defenders in that safety position. They're going to miss him. He's a caliber player.
Gerbach to throw it again, and it is complete. And stepping out of bounds is Derek Alexander, who wears one of the more famous numbers of a receiver here in Michigan. Anthony Carter wore number 1 to Greg McMurtry.
You can see there's a little different philosophy in Mo's approach offensively. He wants to open it up a little bit more, loosen up the defense, get the defensive linemen spread out and thinking about coming up the ball upfield, and then they like to run those draws like they did against Notre Dame last week for big plays.
Michigan forced to live with that tough setback all week. Emotionally down, coming out here in the opening drive, now showing the wishbone. And coming to the right side was Vaughn, and that was Eric Turner, number 29. Defensively, we will be calling number 29 all game long. He is a quality safety for the Bruins. Everybody out on the West Coast remembers Kenny Easley. Well, Turner, when he hit Vaughn that time, he brings the same force to play out of that secondary.
Well, we might mention, too, in talking with him, he's playing with turf toe, and he's really concerned about being in this old, hard AstroTurf and how long that he can play.
Another first down for the Wolverines. They have marched the UCLA 14-yard line, sending Alexander in motion. Taps him when he's behind him. Now they swing the fullback outside, and Bunch powers his way toward the end zone inside the 5-yard line. Gray's got him.
You can see right there they're missing Matt Darby. That play, Travis Collier, number 10, does not do a good job of making the tackle. You'll see him coming from the right corner of the screen, man in motion, deep handoff. He gets a nice block at the point. Here comes Travis right there, number 10. That's poor tackling. He's got to get his head and shoulders across that good running back.
Instead of showing the wishbone, they will line up in the eye with a 1st and goal inside the 5-yard line.
You think they'll throw it?
Boy, that was the heartbreak against Notre Dame when they threw and the Irish picked it off. This time they will run on, and he's short of the goal line. And that was Shalinsky, Mike Shalinsky. Now let's watch how they set up a play. They have not gone to the huddle against Terry Donahue. Instead, it is shuttled in from the sideline, and Gerbeck has called everything at the line of scrimmage. Dick, talk about the no huddle for me down here.
As long as it doesn't affect you negatively offensively, then you go ahead and do it, because you prevent the defense from regrouping each time, looking each other in the eye, and getting zeroed in on the defensive call.
This time they'll use wishbone, and sometimes they go to Jefferson out of this set. They do this time. Jefferson is stopped, and now he pulls his way into the end zone. Line judge coming down the line. Now he signals touchdown. Michigan. They go ahead on Jefferson's touchdown.
You can see it's just a direct handoff. Lead blockers of 2 backs leading through the point of attack. Comes now Shaleski, 98, came around the point and got him in the backfield, but he only needed 1 yard. Now taking a look, here's the hole to the left center of your screen. Good blocking coming off right there. Nice block right there by Tom Doring, number 73. Boy, I'll tell you, that was good form, good fundamental technique.
Off the swinging gate, Michigan moves over the extra point, and J.D. Carlson, who broke the Bruins' hearts a year ago, adds the extra point. It was almost too easy. Michigan took the opening kickoff and marched 80 yards, and they lead it 7-0 on Jefferson's touchdown. We'll be right back.
If you think the new Honda Accord Coupe looks good on television, you should see it on the road. The new Accord from Honda. You have to drive it to believe it.
Here's something for all you truck drivers to think about. There's an oil made special for trucks. An oil with the Shell brand. Oil that protects engines when they rev to their highest and work their hardest. Think any oil will take care of your truck? Think again. Truck Guard from Shell.
I think the blimp wars are being escalated, folks. Now SeaWorld has one. This is the airship Shamu, with that overhead picture here of Michigan Stadium and the Wolverines with a 7-0 lead. And if you've ever been here to Ann Arbor, you just know that they have one of the greatest bands in the world. And certainly we get an opportunity at halftime maybe to listen.
That band, when they played their fight song, I mean, you didn't graduate. You're a Northwestern guy, but you get so excited.
Michigan's got a much better song than Northwestern.
Really?
I hate to
You're going to get some hate mail. You're used to it. I know that. But you're going to get
You know, John Philip Sousa said it was the best college march he'd ever heard. That was back in 1890s. I don't want to differ with him. Carlson has the kickoff now, Dick. And the Bruins will handle the ball. This is Brown, their tailback at the 10. Whoa! They brought down. Beautiful tackle by number 8, who got the job done. That is Ware, a reserve defensive back for Michigan, who came in. Dwayne Ware out of Bloomington, Illinois.
Say, love, and many times you can evaluate the tempo and the emotional preparedness of a football team by how their coverage people cover. You can just come flying downfield, and they're not always the fastest guys. They're many times just the guys with a great desire.
Now the Michigan defense, which was shredded at times by the Irish, facing Tommy Maddox, 6'4", 189 pounds, out of the Dallas, Texas area. They'll throw it on first down, and he has now hit 10 straight passes for the Bruins, and that is a first down. He goes to Randy Austin, his tight end. What a story in the making here. 13 of 20 for 244 yards, completed his last 9, now hits his first pass against the Wolverines. That's 10 in a row. And if they can discover a tailback to take charge, if Brian Brown steps up or Kevin Williams, this will be some offense. And there's the line that will have to handle Michigan up front, and they will run Brown. Didn't get much out of that as Eric Anderson brings him down. Take a look at this Michigan defense, and Dick, we looked at the game films. I know you studied it. Anderson has been the ringleader. They were able to influence him at South Bend. The Irish did not have much trouble with him. He was calling the plays. What do you think about the Michigan defensive unit?
They just didn't tackle like the Michigan defense units of old. And I think that was one of their concerns all week, because in playing UCLA, they've got to tackle good backs much better than they did last week.
Second and 9, split the backs in that familiar pro set. Now they send Kevin Smith, the fullback, in motion. Maddox with a penalty flag down is sacked. Martin Davis brings him down. There is a penalty marker.
Brent, I think they did. They got a face mask on him right there at the end. See what you call this. You know, that Martin Davis. Oh, they didn't call it.
So they didn't get the face mask that you noticed. That was Jerry Hendrickson.
Here's Maddox in the pocket. He starts to step up inside. There's room, and there's the reach and grab.
Or they should.
Oh, he's really got the face mask. Martin Davis, number 86, had him all the way. Officials do make a mistake, only about 15 times a game.
That's one they shouldn't miss. There's a danger factor involved when he accidentally grabs someone in the face mask. There's a reason why that rule's in there.
I'll tell you this, that Martin Davis is prepared to play. I was in there Thursday morning, Brent, and he was in studying films, everything he could look at in regard to UCLA offense already on Thursday morning.
Now the Bruins in the shotgun. And this was able to rattle Stanford. Stanford did not handle the shotgun, and UCLA sat it in the second half. And Maddox, with that size, can see over the offense and the defense. Bingo! He's got an open man. Short of the first down, however. LaChapelle, Sean LaChapelle, was the receiver, and Lance Dalton.
The thing about a guy this big is that at 6'4", he can sit back there now in the shotgun. The rush comes in, he can still see over the top of him. Now, last week we had the little 5'8.5" Verduzco seeing in between people. This week we have Maddox looking over the top of people.
Just short of the first down, Maddox leaves, and Courtney Keeler will punt it away for the Bruins. He was just a yard short, and several of the players on the offensive unit wanted to go, but Terry Donahue knows better than to give Michigan field position like that here in the early going. They're already down 1 touchdown. That's Trip Wilburn back to terrible side of his foot, but it gets a UCLA bounce, and it'll go out of bounds at the 24-yard line. So a bad punt, but a good ending for the Bruins and Donahue, and we're coming right back.
A Ranger never takes the easy way out.
You're reaching deep inside you for things you've never known. Go!
That's why getting into the Rangers is tough, and the training is tough.
Be all that you can be.
So it makes me feel like I'm part of something really special.
Be all that you can be.
And I'm not the only one.
Candidates on fight in the Army.
What does he want?
Marcy, a priceless drug. Rare and illegal.
Where did you say you were from?
He'll kill your people by the thousands to get it. I'm coming, peace. Must stop him.
What are you going to do? Tell him we're fighting drug dealers from outer space?
Pull it over.
I'm coming, peace.
Dolph Lundgren.
And you go in pieces.
I Come in Peace. Rated R. Starts Friday, September 28th at a theater near you.
Today, a guy losing his hair can choose between being the man he wants to be
We look great with hair. Do something to save it.
and the man he could become.
Can't you accept nature like everyone else?
Doctors have hair loss treatment programs that are proven to work, and the sooner you see a doctor, the better.
We don't want nature. We want hair.
When you've considered the arguments
We might look great bald.
and you decide you want hair, there's only one thing to do. See your doctor or call this number for more information.
The
defending Pac-10 champ USC battles Ohio State. Or Heisman candidate Ty Detmer leads BYU against Oregon. It's ABC's college football next Saturday.
What the years have done to the dollar. Back in 1927, it cost less than $1 million to build this facility. Seated 72,000 then, and the first one over 100,000 in 1956. Now with Michigan leading by 7. Elvis Gerback back to work from the 23. And here is the man who shredded the Irish last week, John Vaughn. Right straight ahead. We want to take a look at 6'6", 322-pound, slimmed down Greg Skrepenek.
Lost a lot of weight in the offseason. He got up to 365 pounds. Number 75 right there, working on Bruce Walker, a freshman, just out. What an awakening to come up your first really get at it football as a freshman, a true freshman, and have to line up on that gorilla.
Roman Fiver, the leading tackler for the Bruins, brought him down. There is Vaughn, and number 40 doing the job again. Along with being the leading tackler for UCLA, he has 2 interceptions and 2 sacks. There he is, number 40. Travis Collier, who has replaced the injured Matt Darby, working back there in the secondary.
In talking with Bobby Fields, the fine defensive coordinator for UCLA, he said, we don't plan to sit in there and take them on physically. We will stunt, meaning we will slide offensive line and slant them one way or the other and try to get in some gaps and create the negative play.
Now behind that offensive line, Vaughn has rushed 5 times for 61 yards. It's a changeup. They go with Bunch, the fullback, and he blasts out for another Michigan first down. And Dick, it looks like that offensive line has taken charge of this game early.
Taking a look at that play from the end zone, you'll get a pretty good feel of how this offensive line can come off the ball. You'll notice the defensive line will slant to the left. Now, and they'll bring the outside linebacker to the right, try to get the gaps. They get penetration. The outside linebacker does not make that play. When he goes there, he has to make that play. That's his responsibility.
It's the no huddle, which continues from last week, but they don't really run a hurry up. And now they want the end around. They get the ball into Alexander's hands. Gerback throws a good cutoff block, and Alexander squeezes about 7 yards out of the play.
There was great penetration in there. I think it was Manny Untwood, newbie number 51, who got in there, the nose guard. We'll take a look from the side here. He got in there and got penetration. Sometimes I've seen people do this and create the turnover. See him, the 51 slanted. He's slanting to the left. He gets up in there, gets right at the point of exchange. Did a good job of still getting that ball off to Derek Alexander, and they go ahead and move the ball, but that could have been disastrous.
Manny Untwood, number 51, another Nigerian night. Michigan straight ahead for the first down, and Jefferson, who scored the touchdown against Donahue, really came out. You know, I guess, you know, we started in on the point about the no huddle and talking to Gary Fuller. He's not using it just to speed up the game, although he likes the tempo, but it does cause the defensive coordinator some problems then.
Yes, it does, and they're prepared for it better than Notre Dame would have been being caught by the surprise last week. They're prepared to handle it, and I don't think that's going to be a real negative for UCLA.
Vaughn slashes back on the sideline.
The negative is going to be the size and the ability of the offensive front.
Onward Twebby getting back defensively on John Vaughn.
I'm going to call him Manny. That's his nickname. That's easier.
Dick, it looks like the defensive coordinators for UCLA certainly have their hands full now. What can a coach do in this situation when he's up against such a dominating offensive line?
Well, they've got to go for the sudden change defense once in a while. Bring a safety, bring the linebackers, try to throw them for that minus yardage play. Get them in 3rd and long.
Now Gerback goes to the pass. Man is open, and he has got him going out of bounds on the near sideline. Desmond Howard, who caught 6 passes for 133 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Irish, was the receiver.
See, when you can run the ball as well as Michigan can run the ball, and you run with a play-action fake, pulling a lineman out there, that freezes everybody. There's no underneath coverage on this corner play right here, and that's tough on Carlton Gray, number 3. He's got to have help underneath. The play action, he eliminated the help underneath.
Michigan has rushed already here today for 98 yards. Elvis Gerback with an open receiver, giving the Wolverines a 1st and 10 on the 25. And that was John Vaughn again with Meech Shaw, number 53, tackling him.
You can position. Bobby Fields and his defensive staff have got to be thinking, second here, I've got to get him back to 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12. Field goal, kicking range increased. All those kind of things got to go through your mind as a coordinator.
Awesome offensive show here in the early going by Michigan. 2nd and long. And here comes Vaughn again behind a bunch block. This time he is cut off, and a 2-yard loss as Carlton Gray comes up from his cornerback spot to bring him down.
I'll tell you, that fullback, Jared Bunch, number 32, can really block. He's like having an extra guard in your backfield, and he's also a good ball carrier, averaging over 4 yards a carry. But Bunch can, you know, he was the extra blocker there.
This makes it 3rd and long, and Gerbeck again calling the play for Michigan up at the line of scrimmage. Diebold, his tight end, is set to his left. Now they'll bring Alexander from behind him. And off a play fake, Gerbeck throwing complete again to Howard, but short of the first down. And Gray wrestles him out of bounds. He's been busy the last couple of plays defensively.
Contrary to pro football, here's 3rd and long. They use a play action pass, hoping to help the offensive line protection. They're zoning it backside there. He gets a throw, no help underneath. There it is, one-on-one situation. But good tackling, going for the man up high. The shifty guy, get him up high so he can't take his legs away from him.
You know, there was hesitation down there before they got Carlson out onto the field. The field goal man. And this is going to be 4th, and it would be a long 2. It would be a gamble. They're up 7, having scored a touchdown with their first possession.
He's 5 for 6 in his career from this distance.
There is a penalty flag down. If it's against UCLA, it will give Michigan a first down. That's a 35-yard field goal, but hold on. If it's against the Bruins, Michigan will keep this drive going. You bet. Be Gerbeck back to work offensively as the Bruins commit a mistake.
You just can't make mistakes against a physically strong football team that can ball control you anyway in these situations. That's like turnover. That's like a turnover. Now let's see what happens in regard. Does it, you know, the least they're going to get out of it is another 3 points. But the way they're moving the ball, it could very well be 7 points. We're looking at the middle of the screen right now. Right there, see him move? I couldn't see it from that angle, which guy was offside.
Now a 1st and 10 with the ball at the UCLA 14-yard line. Just turned on the television, said the Bruins are down by 7. Michigan marching 80 yards on its opening drive. Just hit a field goal, but they have elected to take the points off the board and continue with Vaughn, and he is short of the 10-yard line. Was Travis Collier bringing him down.
You know, as big as the offensive line is, they don't always just come off and go man-to-man blocking. They pull linemen, even the big tackles do some pulling. In that play right there, they step the guard around behind the tackle to block a linebacker. They're versatile.
They have brought in a freshman sensation from Akron, Ohio, by the name of Ricky Powers. He is the tailback, and he can run to the corner if they want to try that. He is set behind Bunch now, and Gerbeck in the eye. And they're going to run him behind that offensive line. He cuts back to the right, and Collier again was there defensively. So the start of a big Saturday afternoon here on ABC. We'll see Lou Holtz and number 1 go against Michigan State. See what kind of defense George Perlis has got cooked up. Dick, your thoughts about that game?
Do you think Perlis will have those guys fired up, huh?
Holtz with a marvelous record against the Big Ten the last few years. And, of course, he beat Michigan down in South Bend last Saturday night. It was another of the great Irish comebacks. Now, good 3 yards to go here for a first down. Powers stays in the game. Gerbeck to throw it. Has time, and it is complete inside the 5-yard line. Dave Diebold, the tight end, was the receiver.
You can see, philosophically, they don't feel they can afford to, even though they feel they're better physically, they don't feel they can stay with that kind of approach. They want to loosen you up at all times, anywhere on the field.
They'll go to the wishbone on 1st and goal. Jefferson, Vaughn, and Bunch will be behind Gerbeck. Jefferson got the call for the touchdown on their first drive. to Gerbach's right. Inside to the fullback, and Bunch batters his way to the 1. Now it will be 2nd and goal, and Michigan, Dick, simply dominating UCLA up front.
Well, we are not surprised. In talking with Coach Donahue yesterday at the hotel, his concern was whether his defense, with playing without the 3 best defensive players he has, Brian Kelly, Rosine Keaton, and Matt Darby, if he could hold up with them. He knows down the road when these young guys get experience, they're going to be a good team. But right now, he was concerned about that.
Here's Vaughn. Touchdown, Michigan.
Blocking by the running backs. Good effort, good running. When you tackle these guys, you got to tackle, wrap up, get the arms around.
Swinging gate for the extra point. Carlson now awaits the offensive line. So the strategy works in taking the first down and keeping the drive going after Carlson successfully kicked the field goal. Well, if you're a UCLA fan, you can say that Tommy Maddox has got Michigan just where he wants it. We'll be coming back.
A little brains, a little luck, and a lot of late nights. A good family, a good spot, and some good advice. That's the way it's supposed to be. And USF&G is standing behind me. That's the way it's supposed to be. And USF&G is standing behind me.
Along the edge of San Francisco Bay, just off the Embarcadero, you'll discover the Fog City Diner. Elegant as a formal dining car, yet friendly as a Main Street cafe, where people reserve weeks in advance to taste the red curry mussel stew or the grilled chicken with roasted peppers. So leave your troubles behind, but bring your Visa card, because at Fog City, they take things easy, but they don't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
Nice move, Jack. The Prelude SI with 4-wheel steering from Honda.
A year ago in the Rose Bowl during the regular season, it came down to a J.D. Carlson field goal. And the Wolverines beat the Bruins 24-23. Now UCLA will have to rally to get back in this as they trail 14-0 in Ann Arbor, with Carlson ready to kick it off here again.
Brian Brown has been a very good kickoff return man for UCLA.
They could use a spark. 15 to the 22-yard line. So on that first drive, it was Allen Jefferson who scored. And then on the second one, it was John Vaughn for Michigan. And again, 80 yards and 76 yards. And a costly penalty. It would have been 10-0. Instead, it gave the Wolverines a first down. They marched in for their second touchdown. Now, let's talk about Homer Smith, the offensive coordinator, and young Maddox, Dick.
He said, regardless of him being a freshman, he's never been around as good a one as he saw last week, and he won't sit around and try to beat him physically if it's not going well early. They're going to throw the football.
Maddox back, incomplete. It's unusual to say incomplete when he throws a pass. Reggie Moore
Real good defense by David Key there. He forced him to throw the ball over the top of a man, and that really makes it tough in that zone.
Mark, what's going on down there on the sideline?
Well, Brent, defensive coordinator Lloyd Carr just spoke with his defensive backs and said, guys, don't go pulling a Cinderella job. Don't go to sleep on these guys because they're capable of coming back. Tommy Maddox can get it done.
Right now, Maddox faces 2nd and 10, Mark. And he will run Smith, the fullback. And Michigan playing defense with a lot more enthusiasm. In a telephone conversation that I had with Bo Schembechler yesterday, he said the one thing that surprised him about this defensive unit was the fact that it did not tackle well against Notre Dame. Well, here today, the old coach would be proud of some of the tackling as Eric Anderson, who had only 5 tackles against Notre Dame, comes through in a big way that time. Now it's 3rd and long for Maddox, the Bruins, and they'll go to the shotgun. This time down the middle for the first down. What he can do so well is that sidearm, and he hits Sean LaChapelle, just threading the defense beautifully. He hit one at the 1-yard line against Dennis Green and Stanford in that second half, and he moves the chains. Big play by Maddox.
Well, they went to a zone defense, nobody covering man-to-man. The slot man, LaChapelle, went down inside, settled in what he found was a hole, and, you know, the quarterback just stuck it there.
Lone running back is the fullback, Kevin Smith. 9 remaining first quarter. Use a play fake. Maddox on the roll, and he hits his tight end. That was Rick Daly, number 85. He caught one of the great ad-libs in UCLA history on a blocked extra point. Maddox alertly picked it up. Somebody was yelling fire. Daly broke free, and he hit him for 2 points. Dennis Green still can't believe that one, Coach.
Well, you coach those kind of things, but Coach Donahue said to me, he said, you know, I'm not sure anybody heard anything. His reaction was, oh, my God, we just got a block. Then he's yelling, scream, great, we scored.
Maddox running the draw play now with the fullback, and that's going to be short of the first down. That's going to leave them in about 3rd and 4. And T.J. Osmond, the nose man, number 94, not being fooled defensively.
This defensive front of Michigan, the down linemen, I thought played very well against Notre Dame last week. They're very quick. They've been playing this defensive scheme for years. They know it well. They played it from the first time they stepped on the field as freshmen. If they're senior, they're still playing it now. They line up and they slant, they stunt, and they take you on physically. They keep you guessing.
3rd and 4. They walk the linebackers up. Now they drop them off, and Maddox has one bobble that would have been a first down, but Brian Adams booted it at midfield. Forced a punt because of an error by a receiver.
Poor Adams, that was an easy pattern. He had to take his eye off the ball. Granted, the ball was thrown a little firm, and as Maddox gets a little more experience, he'll drop that one just a little easier. But Adams has to make that. No, he's only a freshman. He's a true freshman, Adams.
That's no excuse.
Last year at this time, he was playing a game in Bakersfield for Pat Preston at Bakersfield High School.
Keeler. March to Wellborn. Has it in a fumble, but Michigan may have recovered. They may have alertly gotten back on that ball, which is the preliminary indication. Now one of the Bruins says, no, wait on. So I'm sure there's a tug of war down underneath now. Michigan leading 14-0. Michigan did recover. We'll be right back.
You've heard it said before. It's not just what you say. It's how you say it. LaserJet printers from Hewlett-Packard. They'll get you noticed. From the Far East to Europe. Across the Caribbean and throughout North America, only one airline covers so much of the world with so much warmth.
Goodyear Wrangler radials? So where can you go on Goodyear Wrangler radials? Just about anywhere you want. Put on a set of Goodyear Wrangler radials, and you'll know why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
One of the great medical schools in the country here in Ann Arbor at the University of Michigan. Fabulous Saturday afternoon. 65 miles from here, our colleagues Keith Jackson and Bob Greasy getting ready for Notre Dame and Michigan State. They've got 101,000 at least on hand, and the Wolverines lead it by 2 touchdowns, sending motion behind Gerbach, and now they will run Vaughn out to about the 22. Dick, we've got to talk about the UCLA defense, because it looks like Tommy Maddox can move the ball against the Wolverines, but they cannot allow Michigan to simply dominate the clock and move up and down the field here.
Well, UCLA's had that problem coming into the ball game. They were being dominated clockwise by about 13 minutes a game on this young, inexperienced defense. Against this big offensive line, it makes it tough. They're going to have to stunt and bring linebackers and gamble and force them to throw the one-on-one coverage on the corners. Go ahead and take a shot.
Motion again from Michigan, and Gerbach will throw back to Alexander on a little bit of a slip screen on that side, and he gets out to the 27-yard line with Onwit Twebby, number 51. He's an active nose man.
Yes, he is. As you take a look at this, you're going to see that these big offensive linemen are not only just big. Here you take the offensive line who's going to be out screening out there. They can run. They can move. Here's Matt Elliott at 270 pounds, 6'3". He gets the kick-out block. Boom! Right there. Knocks him off. Not quite enough room, but good pursuit by UCLA coming inside out.
All right, Coach. Now it is 3rd and short. You can see the chains across the way. 3 yards, which really can't be considered too short. Here's Vaughn, and he is hit by 54. Littleton comes up with a key defensive hit for the Bruins.
Now, Littleton is another true freshman. They have Bruce Walker, 49, playing in. There's a defensive lineman, a true freshman. And Nakiso Littleton out of Carson High School playing as a freshman. He was 18 on September 21st, Brent.
See another one of the talented Samoans out of that school? First name.
Samoan. He played for Gene Bolinogle, who's turned out so many fine football players. Last week we saw a Carson High School product playing for Illinois.
They made some adjustments, and they came up big defensively, and they have forced Michigan to punt.
What they're doing is scraping the linebackers in there, meaning letting them penetrate through, trying to get them in the backfield.
It's Connor's first punt, and it is a beauty. Fair catch called for at the 33-yard line by Wills. It'll be the Bruins ball right there. They trail it by 2 touchdowns here with time running out in the first quarter.
Lloyd Carr, the defensive coordinator for Michigan, said his concern with UCLA is they don't line up and play Big Ten football with a tight end, a split end, and a flanker. They line up with 4 wide receivers or 1 tight end and 3 receivers. And he says they're not used to seeing that. He said, I actually don't like to see them in that situation. Well, with them being ahead 14-0, you can bet they're going to see a lot of it.
Well, it dropped the pass, forced UCLA to punt it away on its last possession. Now the talented freshman taking over again. He's getting good pass protection. Throwing to Moore, complete at midfield. I want to tell you, he has a brilliant arm, and he can throw off the wrong foot like a fellow by the name of Jim Everett used to do at Purdue.
Well, the nice thing about this is he threw the ball behind the rolled-up corner coming up short field and in between the safety playing the deep half. This is a difficult throw, delicate throw. You'll see a man in front and a man behind him. Excellent throw.
Moved into Michigan territory for the first time. They've got the ball at the 48-yard line.
Bonai. Haven't seen that before.
I'm sure you did last Saturday with Colorado.
Yeah, but not with UCLA.
All right. Maddox, play fake, buys time, on the run overthrew his receiver who was wide open. He had a tight end open at the 35 as time runs out on the first quarter. A few bad throws, but you've seen Maddox uncork. Michigan up by 2 touchdowns. We'll be right back.
The Honda Civic 4-door sedan. It comes with a roomy interior, large, comfortable seats, 4-wheel double wishbone suspension, and an advanced 16-valve fuel-injected engine. Unfortunately, some colors are not yet available.
Over the years, much has changed about the game. Today, the best in the business fly. And the airline that takes over 300 college and pro teams to their chosen field is United. Come fly the friendly skies.
Saint-Tropez, France, Gstaad, Switzerland, Bali, Indonesia. You can search the world over and find nothing as luxurious as a big, thick Klondike ice cream sandwich. A veritable feast of elegant vanilla ice cream surrounded by a lavish cookie made with fabulous chocolate. Of course it's rich. And because it's Klondike, it's famous. No one puts chocolate and ice cream together like Klondike. Take it from Robin Leach.
Before building personal computers for networks, Compaq thinks about you, about the kind of people you work with, and the number, how information moves and how fast it goes. This is why Compaq was first to put the performance of an impersonal computer system into a personal computer system, and why so many companies run their PC networks with the high performance of Compaq, to give more power to more people, and more people, and more people. Compaq. It simply works better.
Several orthodontists from Detroit called and said, don't be giving those orthopedic men all the publicity. We've got a pretty good dental school over there at Ann Arbor, too. Most of them on hand here, part of our crowd, in excess of 100,000 on a gorgeous Saturday afternoon. Second and 10. Maddox and UCLA down by 2, operate from the shotgun, incomplete. Great defensive play that time by Eric Anderson. Number 37 came to play here this afternoon.
Maddox actually handled the pressure there real well. They didn't let him throw the ball downfield like he really wanted to, but he threw the ball to where the ball should have been put. Just good defense.
You can imagine what happens when a young man hits the spotlight like he did last week in Los Angeles. It is a town that has always worshipped the quarterback.
19 years old on September 2nd. Just a kid. I don't even know if he's changed yet.
From the shotgun, under pressure. Look at him throw underneath to his running back, Smith. Now, we had an opportunity to ask him about how he's handling the media glare in Los Angeles, and this is what the young man told us.
Well, I think you always enjoy it. It's something that, you know, your whole life you look forward to, and so once it starts happening, it's kind of hard to take at first, but it's always something that you enjoy. It is a little different out in Los Angeles because, you know, there's so many great teams out there and so many great names out there that, you know, when you see your name on the paper, it is a little bit different.
Well, short of the first down, and the Bruins have to punt it away again. Line drive. Welburn will let it go on into the end zone. And they will bring it out now on the 20-yard line following that punt.
You know, Coach Donahue, not only being concerned about his defense coming into the ballgame, he was a little concerned about the inexperience of the kicking game, both at the punting position and the field goal kicking position. It was a concern against a team like this that has an excellent kicking game.
Terry keeps hands on, Dick, with the special teams?
Yes, he does. He keeps hands on everything, but right now he's really zeroing in on the special teams. And that adds a dimension of importance in the eyes of the entire squad when the head coach is deeply involved in the kicking game. Then when he says the kicking game is important and we can win 2 games a year with a kicking game, they're more apt to believe him.
Donahue trailing Michigan's first-year head coach, Gary Mullen. How strange that sounds. Now Gerback moving back behind center. He has gone to the no huddle for both of these games. Off a great play fake, goes for the home run, and Alexander got it inside the 25-yard line. Gray there defensively. Great throw by Elvis Gerback.
On a play like this, there'll be play action, and you'll see the linebackers really, because they run so well, commit to the run. Therefore, nobody under. Look at the linebackers. They're going up in there, take that run on both being hit. Now there is absolutely no underneath coverage, nor would the linebackers get back that deep. Good coverage, really. No safety help from the inside. I don't know where he was.
55-yard pass play to Alexander, and Gerbeck is perfect with his first 7 passes against UCLA. This is Jefferson who checked in, and he gets to the 20-yard line before he's brought down. Watch Gerbeck out on the field, number 15. He looks over to the sideline, and Gary Moeller and his staff, as Jefferson comes back to the huddle. And you see there is no huddle, actually. It's the speed up. Now the play is signaled into Gerbeck. Moeller very active offensively. Now 2nd and 5. Gerbeck got the play from the sideline. They use hand signals. Occasionally they will messenger it in when they want to deal with him directly. Gerbeck throwing open to Howard, touchdown! Or will they give it to him? They have not signaled yet. They're going to mark it at the 1-foot line. 19 yards down at the 1.
I'm not sure what the coverage was in this situation, but normally in that situation, you're in a man-to-man situation. They throw the post pattern inside, the defender covering loose to the outside. A lot of room in there. Boy, that free safety has to get over and help on that if you're going to play defense that way.
1st and goal for Michigan. First it was the running game. Now it is the passing that has set up a touchdown opportunity out of the wishbone, and they go right straight ahead for the 3rd score by the Wolverines here in the first half. Bernie Leggett taking it in.
Looking over there and saying, you know, my mom told me there'd be days like this.
But the key question is, did Tommy Maddox's mom tell him? They're about to turn the big fellas loose defensively on that UCLA passing game.
Well, I'll tell you this. I really believe Maddox is going to put some points on the board. You watch it.
He's also going to get chased, Dick. They'll know now the Bruins have got a pass to get back into this one. They're down by 21 in the early going.
But it's the kind of offense that Homer Smith likes to direct game day. Throw the ball.
Think about it. There are thousands of building products in there, so which do you ask for? Just ask for Georgia Pacific. Even if you forget that our Southern Gold plywood is double sanded for smoothness. Even if steam cured and solid lineal are Greek to you, just remember that every GP product has superior performance built in. So if ceramic-coated granules or Acroglass top coat seem impossible to remember, just ask for Georgia Pacific. That's all you need to know.
While some people are still waiting for the right car to come along, Honda owners are driving it. More Honda owners come back again and again. We seem to have a loyal following.
Kellogg's Product 19 has 100% of 10 essential vitamins and minerals. To get this from Wheaties, you'd have to eat 4 times as much. Fit that in your pantry. Count on 19. Product 19.
At Quality Comfort Clarion and Sleep Hotels, seniors save 30%.
After a life like mine, that's about the biggest thrill I could take.
Seniors save 30% by calling 800-221-2222. Rooms are limited, so call today.
Dick Vermeil and Mark Jones, I'm Brent Musburger. Ann Arbor, and it's all Michigan so far. 21-0 over UCLA. The young man who scored the 3rd touchdown. Leggett, their backup fullback. Look at that. They have twice driven 80 yards and once 76 yards in this game. a tribute to perhaps the best offensive line in college football. Carlson kicking it off toward Brown, and it goes out of bounds, a 5-yard penalty. So it'll be moved back to the 30, and J.D. will have to do it all over again.
Carlson has been a very good kickoff man for them. If people have a hard time returning kickoffs against Michigan over the years, though this year right now, teams are averaging 22.5, which is pretty good. You'd like to average 22.5 returns.
I think Gary Moeller and the Wolverines are taking out their frustration on UCLA. They are just still in shock over having lost to Notre Dame, and UCLA is paying a tremendous price for it so far.
You know, I had a nice visit with Gary Moeller and asking him about being a head coach, and he says, Dick, I am an X and O's guy. I like technical football. I am deeply involved. He says, I want to be involved enough that I don't have to wait to halftime to make the critical adjustments. I want to be involved. I'm going to run my own offense. And I said, well, where do you find the time with all the different things you have to do? He says, well, football comes first. That's all there is to it.
His son, Andy Moeller, was a linebacker here at Michigan, and now he's on the coaching staff of Jim Young's up at West Point. Kick to Brown, and it is intercepted by Brian Allen, 86, and he finally paddles his way back to the 20-yard line. I'm sure they will tell him that they want the ball in Brown's hands as much as possible. So here comes Tommy Maddox now, and the Bruin offense. You remain convinced that this young man can stick it in the end zone.
I think he's going to get it in the end zone. But first off, you know, Michigan is going to now, because they're going to play a little bit more zone, so he'll have to be careful that he doesn't get too risky and just lay some balls out there loosely. Be deliberate in his throw. Fortunately, he's being directed by Homer Smith, that everybody says is one of the best in college football.
Single setback. Going with a double tight end formation and 2 wide receivers. And on first down, Maddox right over the middle, and it is dropped again. They have dropped 2 passes. That time it was Corwin Anthony unable to get the handle. So the Bruins lacking a little concentration here in the early going.
Well, when it goes bad, it all goes bad for everybody. He comes back, he makes a little token fake, and he throws it into the zone there. Nice shot, right where you have to put it, right in the hands. Corwin Anthony has caught 42 balls in his career. No excuse for him missing that one. He's been a little rusty. He's been injured. He hasn't played much.
That shouldn't surprise you. That offensive line. 2nd and 10 for Maddox and the Bruins. And he will hand off from the shotgun through running back, and Michigan ready defensively. 92, Mike Evans.
Mike Evans played awfully well last week. Mike Evans is a walk-on. He did not come here and recruited scholarship. He's earned a scholarship, computer tech major, and he loves to play football, and he really played well last week against Notre Dame.
Why did the Michigan assistant coaches ask for some game films from Alabama way here the last few weeks?
Well, they didn't feel they had enough of Homer Smith offense at UCLA this year with only 2 games, so they went back. This is how diligent they are in preparation. They went back, got Alabama films, and studied what they did in the 2nd and 3rd games last year.
The shotgun were used at Alabama successfully. Great catch on that far sideline by LaChapelle, and out of bounds for a 1st down.
Again, they hit the crease over there in that zone rolled up defense. A man playing short, a man playing deep. He hit that. He has a nice touch on the ball. Now the shotgun gives him a little more cushion. It's going to take a little longer for the rush to get there. They do a good job of picking up the stunts. Now see how he lays this ball right where he has to, in front of the defender. Good. Nice job. Not tight coverage. And LaChapelle is 6'3", and he can really jump.
Maddox, 6'4", was a great high school basketball player and a good baseball player. As a point guard, he averaged 35.8 points a game. Boy, there's a lot of coaches to use him as he hits his tight end for another 1st down. Maybe Steve Fisher at Michigan can talk him into transferring. You know, he almost came here as a football player and selected UCLA. He's downstairs with Mark Jones. Let's go to Mark.
Brent, you never know who you're going to find among the 101,000 here at Michigan Stadium. And I bumped into Coach Steve Fisher, the coach of the basketball team here. Coach, you're missing a lot of bodies from last year's team. No Ramil Robinson, no Terry Mills, and no Sean Higgins.
I came down to see if Moeller would put me in at wide receiver. But you're right. We got a lot of new faces that are talented, but the country doesn't know who they are yet. So we're hoping that they'll play up to their potential and to their press clipping.
You know something about national championships. The football team's trying to win theirs. What do you think about the game today?
We're playing like Michigan. They've got a great football program and tradition, and Gary Moeller's doing a fantastic job.
Thanks a lot for joining us, and good luck this season. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Mark. Good luck to the coach. And that time it was Neil Simpson delivering a blow, but Maddox still completed the pass for the first down.
You know what I really appreciated in regard to Maddox on this play is he sat in the pocket, he sensed the rush coming, moved to where he had to be to throw the ball in through that throwing lane and got it downfield to a freshman in Brian Adams.
Maddox waiting now for the officials to signal that they're ready for play to continue here. UCLA with a first down at the Michigan 41-yard line. They trail it by 3 touchdowns.
117 yards already. This guy can probably average around 300 a game through his career or more.
How important it is for them to get something going here in the first half. Just inside of 11 minutes to go. And Maddox rolling to the right, on the move, and a pass was deflected beautifully by John Milligan, number 30.
You know, that kind of action is really tough on a linebacker. I was actually surprised that he could get back into that because they used it pulling both guards and crossing actions. You'll see as we come back with this replay, and he gets it right in there, and it didn't freeze the linebacker Milligan, number 30, enough to prevent him from getting where he has to. Now, he's a smarter than average guy. This guy was a member of the National Honor Society in high school. He's a bright young football player.
2nd and 10. Maddox in the I formation now. Send him in motion. Brian Brown rolling to the right and throwing complete underneath tight coverage that time to Brian Adams, who held on to the ball.
What they try to do with running a man in motion, say in this situation to the left to wide field, they try to get the coverage to roll that way and then come back and throw against one-on-one coverage away from that coverage roll. Good game planning.
I know a lot of you are wondering, how did Maddox ever get out of the state of Texas? One of the big reasons why is that his brother was recruited as a quarterback by SMU, and that school wound up on probation. They suffered the death penalty. Maddox, a little bit distraught about that, decided that he would look elsewhere. It was not a popular decision. Complete, a great catch by LaFachelle down at the 15-yard line. Sean LaChapelle pulling it down, and the young man keeps the Bruins moving.
When you can jump and you're 6'3.5" and you've got a kid that can throw the ball accurately, it's a zone defense. Welburn's on him pretty tight, lays it up right at where he has to be, goes up there and takes it away. Welburn in good position, not just at the same step, so he couldn't jump at the same time.
He throws a bit like a baseball player, doesn't he? With that sidearm when he delivers the ball.
You know, he was a pitcher. He won 7 and lost 1.
Great velocity. Now he's running the draw play to give it back to him. He'll throw out of it. Touchdown, UCLA! Michael Moore will walk in, and there'll be a penalty marker down. Hold everything. Mike Evans was in defensively for Michigan. Let's hold on now as the officials bring it back.
Took a little longer than I think they anticipated it to happen. They trap, they pull the guards in there, they hand it off. Now see, they hand off like a draw action. There was good penetration in there by Evans. He gets the ball back anyway to Maddox. Now he throws it out to Moore all alone. Good deception, just not good execution.
You're telling me that was a well-planned play?
Well, that's a planned play.
It's like somebody created a sandwich and the defender's supposed to bang the ball back to the quarterback. After the penalty, Maddox rolling this time to the left, throwing complete to the far sideline. Reggie Moore, who caught 5 passes in their winning drive in the Rose Bowl against Stanford. Speaking of Stanford, we've really got to say something about Dennis Green. That might be the most impressive 0-2 football team that you and I have looked at about Stanford.
We've been in position to see their last game each time. We saw Colorado play Illinois, so we saw the Stanford film. Then we saw UCLA play Stanford, so we saw Stanford again. And they played well, but still got beat.
second down, ball at the Michigan 10. UCLA trailing by 3 touchdowns. Needs to get something going here in the first half. Off a long count, Maddox will throw to fade to the end zone, and it's caught. Touchdown, UCLA. Roger Moore, a magician in the end zone. Probably would not have been a catch in the NFL. We'll see on the replay.
I'm not sure with the touchdown here, to be honest with you. From my angle, we'll have to take a look at the end zone. He throws the ball where he has to, high into the outside. Sid Gilman used to say, throw it down the stovepipe, right in the corner of the end zone. Let it drop down there. It's not quite as high as he wanted to. He had possession, right foot dragging. Good job. Good job by Reggie Moore. The receiver coach, Rick Newhousel, that teaches that kind of stuff, Brent. You know, they coach that kind of thing.
Brad and Daluiso to attempt the extra point, and the holder is Maddox. They pick it up. They're going to go for 2. The throw! He wanted Randy Austin.
That's one of the big advantages of having a quarterback at that position, but there are disadvantages.
But there are disadvantages to having your ¡1 quarterback as a holder. Now, last week against Stanford, Maddox was the right man in the right spot. They had set up to attempt the extra point. This was against Stanford. Now, this will be a bad hold by Maddox. This is what Maddox said.
Boy, I didn't even know if it would count if I scored, so you know, it's just, you know, one of those lucky things that happens in sports. And, you know, luckily the ball bounced right back to me, and we were able to score off of it.
So there, the positive side of having him as a holder as he checks with the coaches. But the negative side happened shortly before the game started, when young Maddox came out today, and they were warming up from the field goals, and they started down around the 5, and they backed it up. Now, I want you to watch how one of our alert cameramen following Maddox picked this up. And, Dick, you can tell us, upon viewing this, what's happened here.
Well, see, he puts the ball down nicely, high snap, and he gets his hand kicked. Now, the hand that he gets kicked is his passing hand. That's worth a lot of money. It's going to be worth more every year. You know? But see, he was not originally the starting quarterback. Nothing wrong with having your backup quarterback your holder. Coach Donahue would rather not have this situation, but his kicker has confidence in the guys, so they plan to leave it that way. The other disadvantage is I have seen the kicker rough and hurt badly over the years. I mean, not the kicker, the holder.
Oh, you got to preserve that golden arm.
And leg.
21-7, UCLA, or I should say 21-6, as they fail to convert the 2-point. Now they'll give the ball back to Michigan, and it rolls out of bounds. That'll be a 5-yard penalty. So the scoring drive for Maddox and the Bruins, their first of the afternoon. They went 80 yards. We've had 4 long scoring drives in this game. Michigan drove 80 yards twice, 76 yards once.
And this style of offense, so sometimes you can score too fast. Gets the defense back on the field too soon. I look for UCLA to start incorporating some screen passing and that kind of stuff. Get in the rush upfield, let them come upfield, then form that screen wall system and get some runners with the ball out in the perimeter.
Well, in case you just joined us with Dick Vermeil and Mark Jones, I'm Brent Musburger. Nice to have you along here. The first of our ABC college football doubleheader. Next up from East Lansing, about an hour's drive from here, it will be Michigan State and the #1 team in the nation, Notre Dame. Here it is, Michigan 21, UCLA 6, and Dolly So will kick it off for the Bruins.
Good kickoff.
Howard at the 9.
Got a hold.
Alley. And out to the 43-yard line before Gray brings him down.
Nice job. That kickoff should have been covered better than that.
A reminder that on Monday night, the defending AFC East champion Buffalo Bills head to the Meadowlands. What about the New York Jets this year, Dick?
You know, Brent, I had the opportunity to present the Jet Kansas City game, and I was really impressed with how disciplined already early in a new program. The Jet offense and defensive teams look very well coached.
Present, is that like covering a game or something like that?
Well, I tried to. I never say broadcast because I'd be lying to people.
First and 10 for Michigan. Gerback handing it off behind that offensive line. Gerard Bunch, the fullback. And Sidipe Tuala, number 66, bringing him down for the Bruins.
He's an interesting guy. He's married. Junior college transfer out of Citrus Junior College, and has one child. And, you know, you don't see that many times in college anymore. You know, in the old days, you know, after Korea, after Vietnam, you'd see some veterans in playing college ball with a family.
Second down and long for the Wolverines. Gerback brings Alexander behind him. He taps him when he moves past. And again, this time they move behind the left side of the line. Brian Lockwood bringing him down. We're going to check on Maddox and what he's doing. So let's go downstairs to Mark Jones. Mark?
A lot of life back into the UCLA bench, guys. Tommy Maddox just had a very spirited talk with his offensive line and his running back, saying, guys, we made a lot of key plays in that drive. That proves that we do belong. It's not over yet.
Key third down here, Mark, for the Wolverines. Still plenty of time in the first half, and they put 3 touchdowns up on the board. Needing a couple of yards here to keep this drive moving. And they will bring Vaughn to the outside for the first down and then some. Out of bounds at the 36-yard line. Eric Turner getting him out there, and a 12-yard burst by the tailback.
As you take a look at this from the end zone, you'll notice there's going to be pressure come off the corner here, and he still gets outside. The fill man didn't get there. See, he gets good pressure right there. Now it bounces right on outside that pressure. Lockwood, number 91, has got to get to that point.
They're giving them a first and 10. On the move again. UCLA's defense badly in need of a big play here. Gerback on first down with great time. There's the interception. And it was Eric Turner, their big play man. And just what they needed.
You never want to fire up your opponent when you have them on the ropes. Here Michigan's giving them a little help. Play action pass. Keeps the linebackers out. A little slight sprint out to the right. Throws it in there. Now here comes Eric Turner, the right side of your screen. There he picks it off. Now Turner's been doing this all through his career. He's intercepted 10 of them, and he's a fine football player, playing with turf toe.
Well, I mentioned earlier that fans comparing his intensity and ability with Kenny Easley. Gerback had been perfect, 8 of 8 for 117 yards, and now serves up his first interception. So Maddox back to work on a first and 10. Gets time from his offensive line. He's going to go to Moore for the home run, and it's incomplete. That time it was well defended by Veda Murray, number 27. He was down there. David Key, 26, also there.
You know, the positive of that incomplete pass is that he has now gone ahead and threatened and stretched the defense. He's made the safety covered all the way back there. He's made the corners run deep. It should soften up that inside stuff that was there earlier.
Gary Donahue watching his redshirt freshman. As soon as he signed to attend UCLA, his mother went to work for American Airlines, and that allows the family to fly at a discount to wherever Tommy Maddox is playing. So United Airlines better recruit a good quarterback somewhere. Send him out of school out of state. There's a complete pass.
You know, the funny thing in regard to that recruiting story, Coach Donahue didn't really think they had a chance at recruiting Tommy Maddox. He really thought he would end up someplace else. And when he sort of indicated on his campus visit, you know, I really like it here, Coach Donahue was saying, you know, you better go home and talk to your parents before you make your final decision. I'm not sure this is what you want. But it was what he wants. And fortunately for Coach Donahue and the Bruins, they got a dandy.
Third down and 10. Let's see what the Bruins do from the shotgun. They trail at 21-6, 7.5 minutes left in the first half. Incomplete, under pressure. Michigan coming that time, and it was T.J. Osmond, the nose man, number 94 right there.
Gets up a little slow and heads back. He had time, but the coverage was really good downfield. So he moves to the pocket area where he can throw the football. And then says, welcome to Michigan football.
Kyler. It's another low one toward Welburn. He wants to return it. He's got it at the 20. And good coverage by the Bruins on that low punt. So we're going to come right back to Ann Arbor. 7:22 to go. 21-6, Michigan.
One new Duracell battery. One old Duracell battery after 9 loud weeks in a boombox. Close your eyes. No peeking. Okay, open them. Now, which is which? This is why we saved the new Duracell package. It holds the copper top tester, which tells you if a battery is good or needs to be replaced. The new one, the old one. It's that simple. The new copper top tester. It's free and only from Duracell.
On a night like this, you'll be grateful for a safety feature found in almost every Chrysler car you rent from Thrifty. A safety feature Thrifty hopes you'll never see. It's an airbag. That's right, an airbag. In about half the time it takes to blink your eye, this airbag can inflate and save your life. At Thrifty, we take safety as seriously as savings. Thrifty, because it's your money.
When you have to travel the straight and narrow. Milk it for all it's worth.
Well, the SeaWorld's airship Shamu is out on this Saturday afternoon here in Ann Arbor. And tonight, the Stars will be out on ABC. First at 8, 7 Central, and 6 Mountain. It's the season premiere of The Young Riders. Then one we've probably seen several times, but you want to see again. Eddie Murphy, the ABC movie special Beverly Hills Cop. That's coming up tonight on ABC. Here it's been Michigan in this offensive line. And Bunch, the hard-running fullback, into the arms of Stacey Argo.
You know, Bunch gets excited when he carries the ball because he's really a blocker more than he's only carried the ball 11 times coming into this ball game. Of course, they've only played one game, but he likes to get the opportunity. He's become a much better blocker. And when you can run behind that big offensive line with that fullback and then run outside and inside with that tailback, defensive problems.
Dick Bunch has carried 6 times for 44 yards.
Already in this game.
6:49 to go in the first half. Roger Twybo will be along at halftime with all the scores and information. World of college football, and there they spring him to daylight inside the 50-yard line. Bunch just running free before Turner was able to trip him up. So along with his blocking, now he's taking over the game as a runner.
Take a look at Baker Skrepenek right here and Dingman right here coming off in zone blocking principles, meaning that man slots there, he'll get him, and he'll get him. Here he goes. Good blocking there, good blocking there, good blocking by the running backs. They've got to get some linebackers in there.
That's a 20-yard run, and again without the huddle. Gerback has the Wolverines at the line of scrimmage in UCLA territory. And running Bernie Leggett, number 40, into the arms of Roman Pfeiffer, number 40.
See what they're going to do now with this lead. And, you know, they threw an interception. They're going to come off in base block, meaning man-to-man blocking, no fooling around. Take them on physically and force UCLA to take them on physically.
That offensive line, Steve Everett is the center. Dean Dingman and Matt Elliott, the guards. Tom Dorian and 330-pound Greg Skrepenek are the tackles. Just watch them. They ask you to do there in the open. Look at the protection they offer.
Oh,
back
good
hit over there on the far side. Leggett was the receiver, and Gray whacked him there short of the first down.
You know what Gerback really does nicely for a quarterback, a young quarterback? He does a great job of faking. He really puts the ball in. Watch this as he makes the fake. He makes the fake, puts the ball in the hip, gives the hand, looks downfield. Good faking.
And what was your observation about that key interception that he threw against Notre Dame on Saturday night?
If they'd have had play action in front of it, they may have been able to eliminate that linebacker.
That's right. When they didn't go to play action, he just dropped into the zone.
Well, I'm not coordinating the offense, though.
Third down, under pursuit, heavy fire. But he was able to get an incompleted pass out of it and not take the loss, as Arnold Allay, number 89, along with Travis Collier. So they bring a safety blitz after him that time, and they will put Michigan in punting formation.
Well, you can see that Michigan does not want to just line up now and beat you one-on-one. Here they are. Where they had 3rd and 3. You know, they're running the ball real big. They're going ahead and throw it a couple downs in a row. They don't want to allow the defense to zero in on them regardless.
Which brings up another point. When they were moving the ball there against Notre Dame before the interception, couldn't they have just run behind that huge offensive line? I'll make you second-guess the other coach.
Well, you can always think you can. If you've been doing it successfully to get there, then you'd like to think you might keep doing it.
Now, J.D. Carlson is going to attempt a 57-yarder, and the wind is in his face. Let's see if they might have a fake error, if he can nail this one.
48 is the long
snap, low, picked up by the Bruins. It'll be UCLA ball, and they will have it near midfield.
I'll tell you, you'd have to question the management of the offense in the kicking game right there. Would you?
Absolutely. I would have thought that they would want to bury them and make them go the distance, but Moeller elects to attempt a field goal.
Let's see if this was a bad snap. Holder to your left. No, he gets it down. All right. Oh, he dropped the ball. He dropped that. Solem dropped the ball, taking it to put it on the ground. Boy, I'll tell you, you want to see a kicker swallow an olive when he sees that. Wow. What do I do, Coach? Here's it from another angle. You see the ball on the ground. Here's the defenders, the rushers. They couldn't figure out what that was went between their legs.
Maddox and the Bruins with a 1st and 10. Lots of time left here in the first half. And on first down, good pass protection. Throws underneath to a running back, and he is close to a first down. That was Brian Brown and John Milligan tackling him.
Brian Brown is a guy that he's had some 100-yard rushing games in his career. He's been a starter, but between Kevin Williams, Brian Browns, and Sean Wills, the UCLA offensive staff just don't feel that one of those guys has jumped up and said, hey, listen, I'm your best running back, and I should be your starter from now on. Someone's got to do that for them to grow.
Here's one that Homer Smith frequently likes to go long on. This is 2nd and less than a yard. Showing a run formation all the way. Maddox is going to put it up, and it's short. And a wide receiver open underneath on that side, and now they can come back and get their first down here with 4 minutes to go in the first half.
That's an awfully long throw for a 10 to 12-yard game when you're on the right hash mark and throw it all the way across the field. It takes a gun to get it there. Plus, the ball's in the air a long time, and if you're playing zone, many times that good defender will get a jump on that thing and pick it off.
Breaks free. Inside the 30, he'll go for a touchdown. UCLA scores again.
What happened on that play, Brent, is the nose guard slanted to the right. And they picked it up properly, and they opened the own hole. Here's the nose guard, Osmond. He's going to take this gap. Now, to be sound, someone's got to come down and fill this one. They didn't get it filled. See that stunt? They picked it up nicely, walled it off. Good job by Zeno inside. Here goes Smith at 246 pounds. You can see he has speed for a big back.
Inherited some of that
from his dad, huh?
Charlie Smith, formerly played with the Oakland Raiders. Good 47-yard burst, and the Bruins will attempt a 2-point conversion. What do they like to do in a 2-point situation, Dick?
Well, with Homer Smith, I would. You're not going to run an option. I think he's going to throw the ball.
Maddox will do just that, and he's under pressure. He cannot get it off. And Mike Evans, who played a brilliant game defensively, leaves UCLA short of a 2-point conversion and trailing 21-12. 3:58 to go first half, but the Bruins are back in it.
Nothing beats the USA. Nothing beats what we've got here. Nothing beats clean, crisp, cold. Nothing beats the king of beer. Yeah, nothing
understand Asia, you have to understand its customs, its mystery, its people. You have to know what makes a good impression and what offends. For over 40 years, we've been learning about Asia. So in addition to our convenient schedules, we can give you something no other U.S. airline can. The knowledge that comes after 40 years of helping people do business in Asia.
High heating bills make you mad? Fight back with CertainTeed fiberglass building insulation. Insulate now and get in on CertainTeed's Beat Your Heating Bills rebate and sweepstakes. You can get $1 back on every bag of CertainTeed insulation you buy, up to $20, and win up to $3,000 toward your winter heating bills or other energy-saving gifts. So to fight high heating bills, you can use your hands or your head. Look for the glove display at your CertainTeed retailer.
That building, the Union, has some historical significance. Back in 1960, President John Fitzgerald Kennedy was here, and that's when he announced the founding of the Peace Corps back in 1960. Just part of this great campus here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And UCLA, trailing at 21-12, they have failed on two-point conversions. And the wind blows the ball off the tee.
It doesn't look like it's blowing that hard, but as you look up the flags, one end of the stadium to my left, the wind is blowing to the right. I look to the right, the wind is blowing to the left. It's swirling pretty good down here.
And Mark Jones in the pregame warm-up said that it was pretty stiff down there on the floor of the arena. As you see the flag here.
Michigan provided some motivation, some momentum change opportunities on that last series. You know, they had 2nd and 6 through the pass, had 3rd and 3 through the pass. Muffed the field goal attempt. UCLA gets the ball. They go on and score. That's got to be it could be a momentum changer.
Michigan has to be scared to death that they can't open up enough daylight, because if Maddox is down by inside of 1 touchdown in the last quarter, he could really light it up. Here comes Desmond Howard.
Watch out. Watch out.
Great return. Out of bounds on the far side at the 45-yard line, and the kicker, Brad Daloiso, forced to take him out over there as Michigan almost returns the kickoff. What's the mood like over with UCLA, Mark Jones?
Well, Brent, it's no fluke that they're coming back right now. You know, Eric Turner and some of the other seniors had a bit of a meeting this week, and they said, guys, let's make it happen. What happened? They adopted that theme. They had a whole bunch of T-shirts made up and blazoned across the front. Let's make it happen. Right now, you got to say that they are.
All right, Mark, and Elvis Gerbach is attempting to make it happen for Michigan. And an official said that Howard stepped out of bounds at the 38-yard line. So that's where the Wolverines will put it in play as Alexander comes in motion, and they will go back to their base running game, and they have really been featuring the fullback, Gerard Bunch and James Malone, bringing him down.
Good defense by Mike Chalesky, number 98, the defensive right tackle. In this case, a transfer from Pittsburgh, laid out last year, played in 10 games as a freshman. You know, it was in a good football player and transferred, thank to UCLA. I guess they're really excited about it. But I watched him on film. I think he's going to be an outstanding player come to, you know, a year or two experience.
2nd down and long. Gerbach goes back to his tailback this time. And he is close to a first down. John Vaughn forced out here on the near sideline. This will leave Michigan in 3rd and short deck.
That's the same kind of play they really ran efficiently against Notre Dame. The draw, and they broke it backside, and the linebackers have got to fill that play.
Jefferson will bring the play in from the sideline. They'll show the wishbone look. And again, just as they did against Notre Dame, Michigan playing without a huddle. They led this game 21-0. UCLA has struck for 2 touchdowns and missed on 2 points.
Eric Turner, the free safety, is now playing left corner. They must have another injury problem.
Jefferson has the first down. Comes across midfield. Roman Pfeiffer, number 40, was there defensively, but the chains move, and there's 3 minutes to go. Dick, how about the importance of this defensively for UCLA?
Well, if they could shut them down now and get the ball back, you know, they had some momentum. They took the ball away on that field goal foul up, and if they could do that, they could maintain the momentum, but it's Michigan's job not to allow that to happen.
And they run that tailback into a big hole behind that offensive line. John Vaughn and the nickel man, Othello Henderson, brings him down, and Michigan starting to open up gaping holes.
Here they are now, the offensive line coming off, zone blocking, coming off together at angles like this, and he picks the spot and gets the cutback. Does a real nice job. But see, they're coming off at angles. They stretch the defense, get it cut off backside, and he finds that little hole. They stretch you out, a la Cincinnati Bengals.
Vaughn with 201 against Notre Dame, now 111 yards against UCLA. 2 consecutive 100-yard days. There he is into another hole, crossing the 25-yard line, and it was Henderson defensively again. And when you start to call the names of those defensive backs making tackles on running plays, you know how well the offensive line is performing in front of the backs.
Kim Lawhorn, the young redshirt freshman nose guard that started last week, just went out with an injury, number 78. So they'll have Manny back in there on the nose.
It is Powers, Ricky Powers, the freshman from Akron, in at tailback for Michigan. And they run the fullback bunch. He's going to be short of the first down. It's going to be 3rd and short. And I believe it was Gerback who tripped him up on that play accidentally, the quarterback.
Let's see if we can locate the person that tripped it up. Here's Gerback, number 15. Many times they take a too big a step. Yeah, too big a crossover step with his left foot, and he stepped in the exchange lane and the mesh point and tripped the running back. That happens many times when you take that long stride.
And when you're 6'5", you frequently take that long stride. Elvis Gerback with a timeout because of an injury to Meech Shaw, UCLA linebacker.
As an old quarterback coach, I used to always tell my quarterback to keep the lead foot behind your chin. Don't ever let it get sticking out that far, because if it does, you're liable to trip your ball carrier. See that big left foot right there? He tripped his own man.
A lot of people have said that, well, Elvis had to be named after the great Elvis Presley, the king, and it's not so. He is a Yugoslav, and his brother is named Engelbert, and it's not that Mrs. Gerback loves singers so much, but those two names are very popular. I said, Elvis, if you'd have had a 3rd child born to that family, another brother, what would Mom have named him? And he was kind of stuck.
What do you say, Brent?
Mark, did you find out why Turner is at the corner?
Well, Brent, the doctor's report says that Carlton Gray, the normal left cornerback, has muscle spasms in his lower back. He's walking around right now. He should be back later in the game. Got something going on.
You bet. Touchdown, Michigan. John Vaughn, following a block by Derek Alexander, goes 23 yards.
You start patching a defense that's a little bit weak anyway, with people, even though they're experienced, playing new positions, it's tough to execute the defense. Deep handoff, high formation, to the right side of your screen, you see kick-out blocks. Now good speed, not enough speed by Pfeiffer coming inside out on the play. Very good speed by Vaughn. And you know that guy won the 100-meter Junior Olympics in 10.2. You can see him applying that speed today.
17 carries, 141 yards, 2 touchdowns, 23 yards scoring, John, on that one. J.D. Carlson again.
You know, he came into this ball game leading the country in rushing. He's able to get out there pretty far and be tough to catch.
So here it's 28-12 this afternoon. Michigan State, Notre Dame still coming up. And this fall, we've got some great shows coming your way on ABC.
Spend your weekend with Murphy and Schwarzenegger. Saturday, the heat is on.
How you doing?
Eddie Murphy stars Beverly Hills Cop. And Sunday,
I'll be back.
Go! Arnold Schwarzenegger is the running man. Sunday, friendly discretion is advised. Weekend blockbusters here on ABC.
No other domestic or Japanese car maker has it. Guaranteed satisfaction. We're so sure you'll love your new Oldsmobile. If you're not totally satisfied, bring it back. We've got the edge! And now get a closeout price plus Oldsmobile's 2,000 double cashback, 500 price rollback, and 600 first-time buyer rebate, totaling up to 3,100 in additional savings on Cutlass Sierra. Your Carolina Olds dealers deliver guaranteed satisfaction. A closeout price up to 3,100 in additional savings. Who's got the edge? We've got the edge!
As you go through and study college lineups, most of the time you see running backs move to defensive backs. This time they move the defensive back to running back, and it's paying off.
Brown, 1 yard deep, will bring it out for UCLA. Looks for an alley. squeezes through at the 25, 30, 35, and down at the 40. And it was J.D. Carlson, the kicker, bringing him down there after a return of 44 yards. You got to watch Carlson come up and make this stick.
This was a good kick. It should have been able to be covered more efficiently than this. You'll see good kick-out blocks. Now, this man, Lee, is the all-time kickoff returner at UCLA, and he gets good kick-out blocks, seal blocks. He hits the crease. And, you know, some young people, or even pro return people, you get them back there, you give them the lanes, they never find them. They run into their own blockers. This guy has the knack of finding the lane.
43-yard return. Slot formation to the right of Maddox, working from the left hash mark as he comes out. Great defensive work by Chris Hutchinson, number 97. Just collapsed on the blocker and sacked Maddox.
Here's Hutchinson at number 97. He's working on Rick Fuller, number 70, the offensive right tackle. You'll see him on the left side of your screen. He's an inexperienced player playing on a real good, quick guy, and he just takes him right back and gives him to the quarterback. Now, they moved Fuller, an inexperienced player, from left tackle to right tackle so the quarterback could see where the rush is coming from, because he is an inexperienced player at that position.
Timeout has been called by UCLA. They used their first one, and coming up at the half, we're going to have the Prudential halftime report. Roger Twybo with the scores and highlights from around the country. Beth Ruiak will talk live with University of Miami Athletic Director Sam Jankovic about the future of their independent status. And from our ABC College Football Archives, we'll have the Prudential play of the week. And following this game, about 65 miles from here, East Lansing, Michigan, the number 1 team, Notre Dame, will try to make it 2 in a row over Michigan State. Maddox conferring with the offensive staff over there. Some brilliant young quarterbacks making their debut around college football. Rick Meyer for Notre Dame pulling that game out last Saturday night. You get a chance to focus in on him a little bit later. Gary Moeller, somewhat pleased by what he has seen here offensively, you would think, in the first half, Dick.
He's got to be pleased. And, you know, having done Michigan football in the past, you can see a different philosophy. Even though he's been, you know, really influenced by Bo Schembechler, he's running his own style of offense, same style of defense.
55 seconds for Maddox and the Bruins in the first half. From the shotgun. Gets his protection this time and throws complete to the Michigan 46-yard line. It was Michael Moore. He is the nephew of Ahmad Rashad, who played as Bobby Moore at the University of Oregon. That was a 15-yard gain. 1st and 10 now for the Bruins. Now they'll show their hurry up, and they'll move as rapidly as they can. 45 seconds on the clock here in the first half. Maddox is back. Good protection. Throws complete to LaChapelle.
Get out of bounds.
Inside the 30-yard line, and
he should have gone out of bounds.
That was my analyst, Dick Vermeil, the former coach at UCLA, instructing that wide receiver what to do.
I can't, excuse me, Brent, I can't. Every once in a while I reverse that. Get out.
I'm okay, but I can hear Bo Schembechler yelling at you from wherever he's watching the game first. And of course, I'd love to hear what Bo says when the game's going on. And now they swing the tailback around the left side and out of bounds. Brian Brown with Eric Anderson in pursuit.
The one advantage you have is when it is a first down in college football, it stops the clock and removes the chains. That's one advantage you have.
25 seconds here, Dick, and you watched Maddox, and you were impressed with how he managed time in the Rose Bowl last Saturday.
He did a great job, and that's come some good coaching by Homer Smith and Terry Donahue and the rest of the offensive staff. Ed Kazarian, Rick Neuheisel, and Ted Williams, the running backs coach. They do a good job coaching. Doesn't happen automatically.
1st and 10 for UCLA inside the Michigan 15. Offensive show continues here in Ann Arbor. They run the draw play inside the 10-yard line with Kevin Smith and Eric Anderson bringing him down for the Wolverines.
They got to call the timeout, which they did.
Dick, they're short of the first down. They can get a first down inside the 4-yard line. 19 seconds to go right now. And what will they do against Moeller's defense in this situation?
Well, me sitting up here right now without game planning and preparing a team, I tell you, I just keep thinking touchdown on each call rather than first down, then touchdown.
So if they throw the ball, try to throw it into the end zone.
Throw it into the end zone. Or in something coming out of the backfield where you have a chance to sprint to the end zone.
You know, we had an opportunity to ask head coach Gary Moeller about the importance of this game coming off the Notre Dame loss, and here's what he said.
It's a very important game, I think, to give us some momentum. But at the same time, we still got to keep improving as a football team. I think, you know, I'd be disappointed if we don't win, but I know it's not going to be easy. Everybody looks at UCLA just beating Stanford. Well, I want to tell you one thing. That Stanford's a fine football team, and I have a lot of respect for what they've done out there. They know how to do the fundamentals, block and tackle. And so they beat a good Stanford team, and, you know, Stanford played Colorado right down to the wire the week before, so that was no fluke team that they were playing, and they had a great victory. So their momentum's a little high, and ours is a little down. But I think we'll be pretty strong.
Here is Moeller, 49 years old, played for Woody Hayes, was an assistant for Bo Schembechler for 20 years, and now his defense faces a second down. Maddox, under pressure, throws incomplete over the head of Moore. 14 seconds to go, and it is third down. David Key there defensively, and Dick, they did what you suggested. Make sure you throw the ball into the end zone and stop the clock on an incompletion.
Yeah, I'd like to see him go to some kind of a crossing pattern and that kind of stuff rather than just trying to rely on the fade.
Well, he does throw into the middle very well with that sidearm.
Yes, he does.
Stanford can testify to that. He's hit one already at the 1-yard line. They're going to use the shotgun going in for Maddox. 14 seconds, third down, should be able to get off 2 passing plays if he doesn't throw an interception. And instead, they'll run it on an inside handoff with Brown. Now they will have to use that last timeout. They are short of the first down, and it's decision time for UCLA. And with the scoreboard, you'd be tempted to take the field goal.
Yes,
they missed on 2 two-point conversions, and the coaching staff would have to seriously consider attempting a field goal right here and getting back to 15. 28-15 is much better than 28-12.
Especially when you have been moving the ball in the second quarter. You put points on the board. Go ahead and take the sure 3.
Dick, what about the rule changes next year? They're going to narrow down the goalpost to 18-6. They're going to be the professional width on the goalpost. What's your feeling about that?
Well, I think they're doing it, of course, to cut down the scoring from the kicking game. But what I think they've got to do, or should consider do, is move the hash marks with it. Otherwise, I mean, it's going to be so much tougher to kick in college than it is in pro football, because the hash mark from the middle of the field is 17.5 feet further out than it is in pro football. I mean, that's going to be a real tough kick.
How would the defensive coordinators in college football like to see those hash marks move more toward the middle?
Well, first off, they'd ask for a raise, okay? Because then what would happen is you'd have option football that can go like to the wide field both ways. And defensing an option, having 2 wide fields, would drive a defensive coordinator crazy.
Tony Rice would ask for some more eligibility. Darian Hagan would stay at Colorado.
And UCLA would go back to the wishbone.
Well, they have decided to go for the field goal here.
Good decision.
They are 2 yards away from the first down. Maddox is the holder for Brad Dalaiso. Ball is right in the middle for this field goal attempt. And he nails this one. So the UCLA coaching staff will put 3 on the board and make it a 28-15 game at halftime. And right now, let's send you to New York, and here's Roger Tribal.
Right, everybody. This week on ABC's Monday Night, East champion Buffalo Bills, that game at the Meadowlands. Both teams are 1-1 and looking to get an edge in that competitive AFC East race. Our coverage begins at 9 Eastern time. Meanwhile, in college football, the NCAA has penalized the University of Florida this week. The football team will not be college football together. 14 in the third quarter. Here's Keith Jackson.
Third quarter, and Harbaugh now looks to cash in. He's got a man going into the corner. Touchdown, Morris. Oh, yeah, he's got it. Yes. Ball came loose. He hit the ground. It's a touchdown.
A 17-yard touchdown pass from Harbaugh to Morris as Michigan goes on to win the game 24-23. It marked the last time Michigan beat Notre Dame, as they've lost 4 consecutive times since then.
Of Michigan, rich in history ideas, a
vibrant learning community. One of the world's great universities. Whether it's a modern look at ancient history or a new discovery in science, students at the University of Michigan receive the education they need to excel in the world of the future.
I'm Al Michaels. Join us Monday for a key matchup featuring two teams from the AFC East.
Well, if you like offense, folks, this is the place to be. 6 touchdowns and 1 field goal. And if you like band music, none better than the Michigan Marching Band. Let's check them out. Always amazes me, Dick Vermeil, how much practice time that those band members put in there. They are really something.
As much time as the football teams do.
You know, I mentioned offense. 624 yards these two teams have accumulated. Can anybody here play some defense, Vermeil?
Well, when you think that Michigan has run the ball for 236 yards in the first half against a Bruin defense, I think really they might just take the arm off the quarterback and let him run.
Now, if you watch the game, you would get the impression that Michigan was blowing UCLA out. But on the scoreboard, the Bruins are right there.
Well, when you can throw the ball efficiently against a Big Ten team, you can put points on the board.
All right. So coming up, we're going to have the second half. It's 28-15 right now in Ann Arbor. Michigan leading UCLA.
Winning. It's more than a word. It's a spirit that's driving everything we do. And it's why more people depend on Chevrolet than any other car. From the people who push them to their limit to the men and women who drive them home, more people are winning with the heartbeat of America.
Daddy, I want my teddy bear.
I want my soda.
Grandma, isn't this fun?
I want my Serta.
Why do people want a Serta? The answer is the exclusive Serta Surface. It tops firm support with layers of thick, luxurious comfort. It'll spoil you for sleeping any other way. So get a Serta Perfect Sleeper.
I want my Serta.
Three well-armed men have been throat cut before they can even draw their weapons now. Who could possibly move that fast? I come in peace.
It's like turning your radio dial to K-I-L-L.
I come in peace. Dolph Lundgren. And you go in pieces. I come in peace. Rated R.
Starts Friday, September 28th at a theater near you.
Watch your step, folks.
I'm so thirsty.
Who's that?
A brand new thing. You must have got a bun.
Well, that's why he's using Tonico Unleaded.
Won't have to worry about costly breakdowns. Yep, breakdowns out here in the Badlands can be real dangerous.
Well, we're in daylight. Come on.
Have a good trip.
Conoco. Hottest brand going.
ABC's College Football. Brought to you by today's truck, Chevrolet. Nobody's winning like the heartbeat of America. And by Norelco Lift and Cut Shavers for a new level of closeness and comfort.
Well, a cloud cover starting to close in here. And for Gary Donahue, it looked very dark indeed in the early going when he fell back by 3 scores. But now he's right back in it against first-year head coach at Michigan, Gary Moeller. Halftime used to be one of my favorite times with Bo Schembechler because you never knew when the Wolverines would come back on the field. Mark, what was it like with Moeller in there in the Wolverines?
Well, Brent, the mood right now in the Michigan locker room was at halftime anyway that they plan on holding on to this lead like how you hold on to a grudge. They've been starved for a week here at the University of Michigan, and that was the message sent by the coach himself.
Well, there is Gary Moeller, and, you know, I got a little story about Bo Schembechler that folks around Michigan know that he was walking through the halls after he had resigned and Moeller had been elevated, and he saw a young man coming down who was obviously on the football team, and he said, "Son, do I know who you are?" The young man looked at him and said, "No, but I know who you was."
And then Bo decked him. No. I'll tell you, replacing a legend and tough. What it takes time to do is to establish the credibility of a Bo Schembechler. You don't inherit
defensive credibility in this game either, folks. Let me tell you that, Dick.
Michigan is averaging 6.9 yards a snap rushing the football. Go ahead and run. Don't complicate efficient offense.
First score in second half could be extremely important in this game. 28-15, Michigan with the lead, and Brown set to return it now for the Bruins. He'll get a chance. He's going to let it bounce, and it'll go out of bounds, a 5-yard penalty, and they will back it up now for J.D. Carlson. Well, Dick, I want to reflect back on the end of the first half, because on third down, just before the UCLA field goal, they went to the shotgun that was inside handoff. And you told me a story about how the Michigan assistant coaches had got a lot of Alabama footage when Homer Jones was down there as the offensive coordinator for Bill Curry. I did several Alabama games over the last few years. That inside handoff was something that Homer Smith really featured down at Alabama. And Sirhan Stacy was the running back. Gary Hollingsworth would hand it off to him. Michigan was really ready for that.
Well, that shows you how deep the preparation by the Michigan coaching staff is. These guys are late workers. They learn to work from Bo Schembechler. You know, he was a fine coach and all these other things, but he never took anything for granted. And Mo will not take anything for granted. They will study and they will work till all hours of the night, believe me, to be prepared.
They were expecting Bo to come to the game here at Michigan. His private box was all ready, and Bo told me yesterday, "I just can't do it yet, Brent. I just cannot come to the game. I got too nervous watching the Notre Dame game on television." So he's at home, and Bo, we hope you're enjoying it. I know you're a little nervous right now. There's another penalty, and Bo will be here. He talked to his good friend Era Parsegan. There's his box, and Era told him that, Bo, there for the first few years, I had to leave Notre Dame games at halftime. How about you, Dick? Have you had difficulty watching the Philadelphia Eagles, for example, and going to the stadium?
Not anymore. For the first 5 years, I wasn't being able to go because I was working and doing pro football games, and I wasn't home on Sundays. I'm able to go now. I go once in a while. I do get nervous. I have been through all those highs and lows emotionally that a coach goes through, and I find myself feeling sorry for the guy that gets beat. Like last Sunday when Buddy got beat against the team he shouldn't have gotten beat in, and, you know, on paper anyway, I know that feeling because it's happened to me.
You know what I find the most difficult for ex-coaches when I'm around them?
What, to believe them?
That's second. When they say do something, 50 people don't jump at the same time. Well, let's see now. Where have we marched this ball? Back to the 25-yard line for J.D. Carlson. He wants a little practice. Now, this is really working against Michigan because it's improving UCLA's field position here in the early going. They're down 28-15.
What he tried to do on the last kickoff is kick it off to a specific area on the field, then defense that area. He kicked it too wide. Now he's kicking it right down the middle. Oh, it moves over to the left.
And this one's going to go out of bounds. And the crowd grows restless.
J.D. Carlson's never had that trouble before. He kicked 4 for 4 field goals against UCLA last year that beat him, with the final one being on the last second. He can kick better than that.
May be here all afternoon, folks.
Kickers
to hold up the kickoff for the Michigan State-Notre Dame game. There were our leaders now for UCLA. Maddox, 16-27 for 207 yards. And behind him, Smith rushing for 52 and Brown for 16. And Michigan Vaughn, the big story. 141 yards and 2 touchdowns.
You know, I've been around a lot of place kickers that got psyched out kicking field goals, but I've never been around one that got psyched out kicking it off.
There've only been 4 penalties today against Michigan, and J.D. Carlson's been responsible for all 4. They've all come on kickoffs.
half the distance here pretty quick.
Maddox is saying, just keep going. You know, get me down within striking distance. He's kicking off. This might as well be a safety, folks. Ball's down there on the 20-yard line, and J.D. Carlson's going to try it again.
But if you're the coverage guy, you go over to him and say, listen, I've already covered 3 of these fools. We need to kick the darn thing.
Why don't they try an onside kick right here? That's surprised everybody.
There he goes.
Hey, the crowd cheers, and we're finally underway. And it is fielded by Brown to the 40. Down to the 43-yard line. Almost a late hit. So they will take it over 1st and 10, and here comes Tommy Maddox. The freshman from down Dallas, Texas way to work against this defense. Last words from the offensive assistants over there.
Well, you know they're not going to come out running.
Brown and Smith, and they will go to the shotgun right away.
This is what they did last week against Stanford in the second half. First snap, shotgun.
He's got plenty of time. Throws underneath for a first down, hitting Michael Moore, the freshman.
You know what makes it tough on a zone defense is what Maddox just did then. He looked to the right, looked to the right, looked to the right. That keeps the zone defenders moving in that direction. Then he turns and throws it to the left. Good vision, good technique.
The golf course nearby the University of Michigan football field. I'll tell you, a year ago it rained for the Notre Dame game, and they were unable to use those fairways for a while. 1st and 10 for Tommy Maddox. Hollywood's newest darling. Certainly Terry Donahue knows how Los Angeles loves the heroes. That one was deflected, but you know, we had an opportunity to ask Coach Donahue about the impact that Maddox has made on Southern California after just a few weeks and what it all means.
Well, I'm concerned about that because you have to make sure that Tommy's time doesn't get taken away from him by the exposure in the media. And you also have to make sure the best you can that people's expectation levels aren't so unrealistic for this kid. Tommy will become a great UCLA quarterback, I believe. If he stays healthy and makes normal development, he'll be a great UCLA player.
On 2nd down, he'll be satisfied to hand it off, and that was Trip Welburn, number 3, the strong safety, coming up to hit Smith that time, and this puts UCLA in 3rd and long.
See, you call a play like that, it hits quick inside because you anticipate the defensive tackles taking the hard outside rush to contain the quarterback. This time they brought the man off the corner. A safety makes the play.
And we could have a little rain in this area later this afternoon, too, judging from some of those clouds. 3rd down and long, and from the shotgun, Maddox, he's had time from that formation, steps up and throws incomplete. Not a well-thrown ball, not good judgment on that play, and well defended by Michigan.
Yeah, everything you said was right, Brent, but also offensively, they had 3 receivers within a 5-yard area. Grandma Moses could cover those guys, you know. One guy could cover all 3.
That does help to get them together.
Spread out. You're in a spread formation. That must have been a mistake, a breakdown, or else the coverage forced them out of their lanes. I don't know, but they were all 3 there shaking hands. They'll be talking about it, believe me.
Now they will switch to Shager as the punter. So he comes on here in the second half. Darren Shager will be the punter with Welburn back deep. Healer kept him down low. He gets this one high but short. And it takes a Michigan bounce, and it is touched there at the 30-yard line. And so after getting all that field position because of the penalties, they can't do anything with it. And it'll be Michigan's ball on a 13-yard punt. We're coming right back.
Have rocketed their way to #1, but the Michigan State Spartans are looking to make the Irish too. It's ABC's college football next.
Dick Vermeil predicting a Michigan State upset in that one.
Who said that? Who said that?
First and 10 for Michigan. It's 28-15 over UCLA. Elvis Gerbach making his 6th start as the Wolverine quarterback. 4-0 a year ago, beaten by Notre Dame last Saturday night. And John Bond, the tailback, who exploded in the first half, into the arms of Arnold Alley. 89 that time, and it'll be 2nd down now for the Wolverines. Good first down carry that time, and it'll leave them in 2nd and 5.
They have a lot of young defensive players in there, and Arnold Alley, number 89, and Nicosi, Littlejohn, number 54. These kind of guys, Mike Shillett, all redshirt freshman type guys. They've got to keep the pads down against this big offensive line.
Tied into the short side of the field. They bring Alexander in motion to the right side. They'll run that way with the fullback bunch. Tries to power his way for the first down, and it's kind of where they spot the ball. And Manny Onwetwebe, the nose guard, took him on there.
As you take a look at a big 325-pound tackle, number 75, it's amazing how well he can move his feet. Now he has the man slanting him underneath him. He just keeps his feet going and pins him up for a 3 count. Had a nice visit with him yesterday. He's a Pennsylvania boy, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Used to follow the Eagles when I was coaching. They asked me some questions, and I said, if I had a tackle like you, your size, I might have looked a little smarter as a coach. He said, no way.
3rd down and 1 here for Michigan. Ooh, and big hole for the first down. John Vaughn powering to the right side. Collier tackling him there, and the numbers continue to mount for Vaughn, who a week ago rushed 22 times for 201 yards, and today he's at 151 yards already.
Concentrate on the blocking of the big 2 offensive linemen here and the lead block by the fullback. If you can see what happens, big double team block, kick out by the fullback, running lane, things like that happen because you do it fundamentally sound.
On 1st and 10, ball at the Michigan 45. They lead at 28-15. And that time he tried to cut back, and it was the fullback Gerard Bunch meeting Mike Shalinsky, a transfer out of Pittsburgh to the West Coast.
In watching the films last week, UCLA defense against Stanford, I really felt that Shalinsky was the only guy that could take an offensive lineman and butt him and stuff him. Now, I'd like to see him on big Skorepanek to see how he does. In fact, he's going to get to do it this time, but he can straighten you up and belt you. When he really learns what this game's all about, he's going to be a dandy.
2nd and long for Gerbach and the Wolverines. Throws high, incomplete. So after an explosive first half, the offenses start to sputter here. We start the 2nd half. Arnold Alley putting heat on the quarterback, and there is Moeller calling his own plays down there on the sideline, getting them sent into the quarterback.
Moeller says, no way am I going to become an administrator. Sit there with a tie on all day long and tell everybody else what to do and coach my football team. I'm going to be involved. That's what I love to do. And I think the important thing that he needs more than anything now is a great support staff at home. Because I'll tell you, it takes a lot of time. And if you got a wife at home that can put up with you, it makes it a lot better.
I can identify with that.
Yeah, I guess you could.
3rd down and 8. Gerbach, fumble. Loose ball still on the carpet, still loose. And let's see if UCLA finally pounced on it. They did. UCLA ball at midfield.
He got the ball. He dropped back to pass. He's got it out a little ways from his body. It gets slapped out, and I'm not sure who got it. Now he drops it back. He has the ball in good position. Just where it court. Now he gets it out, Swarna. Here it is. It was not his fault. That was just good play by Shalinsky, number 98, coming around to bat that out of there.
And I'll tell you, Manny Onwetwebe, number 51, kept going and recovered the fumble. Now Maddox with favorable field position again. 1st down. One setback behind him. Using his fullback. Comes out here to the left. Man is open. Hits his tight end inside the 30-yard line. Austin. 24 more yards, Coach.
That action has really been tough on him because you pull the both guards. You pull the both guards here. You pull these guards in the opposite direction. They go here and it brings the quarterback out here, and then they bring the guy over here, and that freezes all the underneath coverage. Take a look at this. A little complicated. See the fakes? Guards pulling, guard out there in protection. There's the hole created by the fake in that zone defense.
Suddenly Michigan grows a little uneasy here as the Bruins threaten again. Ball at the 27 now after the fumble. 1st and 10 for Maddox, who pulls out, sends his running backs out, has time, complete to the 12-yard line. Michael Moore, number 19, and Trip Welburn there defensively, 14 more yards and another first down.
What they're doing is they're giving him time to allow those receivers to work down in the zone, find the holes, and settle down. They've got to come with some kind of change-up defense. Get somebody in his face.
The scoreboard shows Michigan leading 28-15. They were dominant in the early going. The two Moores, the wideouts, and instead they'll run the fullback Smith. And he crosses the 10-yard line before Welburn brings him down there. And they're getting across the line of scrimmage now with their running backs. Maddox spectacular in that second half. He rallied them against Stanford when they were down 21-7. Now with a second down, the ball at the Wolverines' 8-yard line. Smith and Brown are the running backs. This is Smith behind Brown, and he is short of the 5-yard line. John Milligan, number 30, took him on, and there is a penalty flag down on the play. Hurting the Bruins here, and Terry Donahue.
Holding penalty. Who's it on? Who's it on? Not that it makes a difference right now, but when the kid comes out of the game, it makes a difference. You know who to chew on.
If they don't know now, they'll find out when they look at the film. So, Dick, they back it up here. Second down for UCLA. They give them a little more time. Actually, an extra down, ball back at the 18-yard line. Any thoughts on what they might do against the nickel package?
Well, they can, they can make a first down before they score, so they shouldn't try to go for it all in one down. They got 2 downs to get a first down.
From the shotgun, Maddox. Almost intercepted.
It is intercepted.
Inside the 5-yard line. That was Lance Dotton, number 22.
To a delay pattern underneath. Now you'll see the pattern come. There he is, number 19 Moore. He was going underneath there in the zone. They rolled up in there.
I'll tell you who did the job was Welburn, stepping up, and he deflected the ball, had a shot at intercepting it, and then Dotton picked the ricochet off inside the 5. But it was Welburn who made that play. He ambushed Maddox when he moved into that coverage on that replay.
Normally that kind of a pattern is very good against the zone. I actually think young Moore, the wide receiver, number 19, should have kept coming under the zone and let him throw it into the hole, but he stopped right at the defender. He was not being covered one-on-one.
Dangerous position now for the Michigan offense. They must come out from their own end zone. Gerbeck sets his backs in the eye. And it'll be Vaughn trying to cut back short of the 5-yard line, and it was Meet Shaw, number 53, there defensively.
Vaughn just came out of nowhere in that one ball game. They're saying, John Vaughn, who? Who's this guy? 200 yards against Notre Dame. The only Michigan back to ever do that.
Second down and 10. Punching Vaughn, and it'll be Vaughn, and he doesn't get out on third down. Someone who's pulling hard for Michigan right now is their former basketball star, Ramil Robinson, and he's downstairs with Mark. Mark?
Brent, yeah, I've got the newest member of the NBA's Millionaire Club. Ramil, you signed on Thursday, but it kind of went by unnoticed with Atlanta getting the Olympics.
It was a great time down in Atlanta when the time I signed. I think it was a good opportunity for the city and, for the organization that's down in Atlanta. Unfortunately, I came in at the same time, but, good things coming in big packages. I came down there that time, and also Atlanta, got the Olympics. So the city's looking pretty well.
Ramil, you got a body like a fullback, and much success to you this year. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Brent, the guy that knows something about championships.
You bet. And someone who knows something about tough yards right now, John Vaughn, bringing it out for a huge first down.
And really all they're really thinking there on that call is get the ball out, so give my punter the full 15-yard space he needs to punt from spread formation. Instead, he moves it out and gets the first down. Really a good individual effort. 454 yards already.
Well, he came in the nation's leading rusher after that 200-yard game.
And don't forget Ricky Powers, was one of the finest high school running backs in the country last year. Is just a freshman, and we're going to see some of him.
Allen Jefferson replaces Vaughn, giving him a breather. Van Dyne goes in motion.
Good defense.
And the fullback bunch couldn't find any running room as Collier, number 10, was the first defender to hit him.
Collier did a real nice job there. He's playing in the place of the injured Matt Darby, who has a shoulder problem. And by not playing Darby today with a shoulder, chances are he'll be ready to play next week against Washington State. You play him today, Darby may not be ready to play next week. But that was a nice play by Collier. He wants to be a lawyer, Brent. You know, that's good, because if you can't tackle him, you can always sue him, you know.
Yeah, that's been done a few times. Yeah. Second down and 10. Alexander in motion behind him and then cuts back. Now Gerback goes sideline and incomplete and dangerous that time. Throwing for Desmond Howard, but Gray had a shot at it.
Carlton Gray did a real nice job. He had good body position all the time. He knew where the ball was going to be thrown. It was thrown in the right place. He made his move. If anything, I thought he made his move a step late. He might have been able to pick that off. He's a smart football player. Academic prep, All-American, smart guy.
3rd and 9 at the 14. Vaughn returns. Michigan without that huddle.
UCLA's defense has definitely gotten better here in the second half. A few good adjustments made, I'm sure.
So Gerback eyes the receivers. Hit incomplete. Intended for Bunch, the fullback, who was coming out, threw a little bit behind him that time, and that will force Michigan to punt it away here.
Also a good individual play by Meek Shaw, number 53. He came out, he flashed his hand across the face of the intended receiver, and it probably broke his concentration just enough to not be able to make that catch.
There's Connor. It's a punt.
No huddle on the punt. No huddle on everything.
Only a second punt of the day.
It's a lousy punt, too.
Hasn't gotten much practice.
Oh, getting a good roll.
John Wills will simply let it roll, and it bounds down inside the 40-yard line. This will be one of the last years you'll see this carpet here in Ann Arbor. They're going to tear it up and go to grass. And we'll be right back. It's 28-15 Michigan.
The Penobscot River and Old Milwaukee both mean something great to
And already 162 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns as Michigan's defense storms in on quarterback Tommy Maddox. Dick, you noticed a change right now in first down on the Michigan defensive philosophy.
Well, right there, they come right after you. They're not going to sit there because they're playing them fast. They had a nickel defense in there, 5 defensive backs, putting people in position to cover guys one-on-one that can run and are used to doing that, and then bring everybody else.
And the nickelback gets a job done that time. Otis Williams. Part of the athletic complex here at the University of Michigan. Second down and 15 after the sack of Maddox. From the shotgun. The inside handoff, and Smith this time out to the 45. Eric Anderson tripping him up.
You know, this Smith is just coming alive, and he's a young guy. He's 6'4", 246. He's a junior out of Oakland, California, Skyline High School, and coaches say that he's one of the 5 best athletes. And in the National Football League, he'll probably be used as an outside hard pass rusher. That's the kind of athlete he is. And here he is as a running back.
For that first down. Maddox steps up, incomplete, and dropped at the 45-yard line. Wilburn was all over La Chapelle.
The ball was thrown a little bit behind him, but you have to credit Wilburn for that one.
Maddox unable to move the ball here in the second half like he did in the first half.
Both teams doing a little better job of defensing each other. Maybe they just ran out of yards. There were so many of them in the first half they just can't find anymore.
Well, you picked out early deployment of the nickel because UCLA liked to throw on first down.
Well, and you get people in there in position, in the linebacker positions, now a defensive back, and he can cover those that extra receiver.
Kyler returns as a punter. They looked elsewhere for one punt, and that seemed to motivate the young man. He booms that one. And
close.
Just into the end zone. It'll come out at the 20. 57-yard UCLA punt. 28-15, Michigan with the lead. 4:47 left in the third. Airship Shamu joins the Battle of the Blimps here this afternoon in Ann Arbor, representing SeaWorld. A nice day to be soaring above Michigan Stadium. Crowd in excess of 100,000. Now, 1st and 10 for the Wolverines. They lead it, and it's Vaughn again, swinging to the right side and defended well by Pfeiffer. Let's check in with Roger Twybull for an update on the Battle of Iowa. Roger?
Thank you very much, Brent. It was 17-14 Iowa at halftime, and this is the Hawkeyes' Tony Stewart. Look at the good moves. 18 yards for the touchdown. They've scored on their first 2 possessions of the second half. Remember, Chris Peterson, the starting quarterback, and Blaze Bryant not playing for the Cyclones. Now back to you, Brent.
All right, Roger, thank you. And here it's 28-15, Michigan leading UCLA, and Hayden Fry with daylight in that one. Alexander with an exposed pad doubles back in just in time. Vaughn running into the middle of that defense is short of the first down.
You know what happened right there? UCLA's nose guard, Kim Lawhorn, number 78, took a good slant move, and they ran right in where he slanted from, right in behind him. Did a good job of blocking him, and he probably going back. Why did I go that direction? I guess it's because the coordinator said to slant left. That's why.
Alan Jefferson checks in to this wishbone look here in 3rd and 2 now for Michigan. 3:36. They lead it 28-15. They're going to show this look someday and come up and throw the bomb. And Bo is probably saying, not now, not now. And they don't. They run for the first down. Meet Shaw with the tackle for UCLA, but the chains will move.
The entire front 7 of UCLA is playing much firmer at the point of attack than they did in the first half. They really are. They're keeping their pads down. They're young guys. They're growing. They're getting a little better. And it's not that the Michigan's offensive line is getting tired. I think these people are just getting a little better at taking them on.
Was taken on that time by number 41, Argo.
Stacey Argo, nice job. That's what you call a really scraping a linebacker through the point of attack. Run, he sees a gap because of the rest of the line play. He's allowed to do that, get in there and get him before it gets started. Taking a good look at it here, Stacey Argo making the move. You're looking at a 3.5 grade point average guy coming out of high school. He's a history major, very smart linebacker. No substitute for brains when you're coaching football players.
That just about goes for any sport, doesn't it? 2nd down and long now. Gerback bringing Vaughn again, and he was met, and this is going to lead them in 3rd and long.
The great big 325-pound offensive tackle, Skrepnik, pulled and trapped, and he hit this guy. The guy probably thought he was hit by a Mack truck. Holy mackerel. We'll take a look at it right here if we can see it. Here he is right there at number 75. Now watch this. Boom! Oh, I'm going down. I'll tell you this, the kid fought back. Good job by Satupi Tuala fighting back.
Very comfortable 325 pounds. Now it's 3rd down. Gerback in a passing situation for the Wolverines. Puts receivers on the wing, and he'll keep it, but he is short of the first down. Michigan will punt it away. Meet Shaw, cut him off.
Meet Shaw. Arnold LA got up in there. A good pass up, stunt move, moved up inside, forced him to get out of the pocket, start forward, and then comes Shaw. Sean Wills, number 37, back in punt return. You know, he has been a good starting running back from time to time for the Bruins. They had trouble against Oklahoma with the returner fumbling the ball, so they put him back there. Better catch that. Yeah.
And he did at the 32.
Punters have not been very good today.
What a low line drive.
Yeah. You'd like to be returning those, wouldn't you?
Not really. Might signal for a fair catch and only go over my head. Hope it bounded out. Last minute here of the third quarter. It's 28-15. Michigan with the lead. And Dick, what are some of the strategies that the defensive assistants have changed here to tighten this game up all of a sudden, or did they just tell their players to tackle better?
Well, the UCLA went to a split six look, playing the tackles wide on the guards and then the two linebackers inside, and then we're doing some scraping. That's one thing that I've noticed has been different.
Now, how about the Michigan look right now that they're giving Tommy Maddox?
Well, they have the extra defensive back in there.
Here comes a safety blitz, but Welburn couldn't get there, and they hit the hot man. Welburn was coming. Maddox picked it up from his right side and hit Brian Brown coming out of the backfield.
That's really a good poise by a freshman quarterback to be able to handle those kind of situations. I've seen veteran quarterbacks, you know, this senior year playing 4 years of college ball and make a mistake on that same play. Fortunately, the blitz was coming in his face to the right side. He could see it all the way.
Now, Welburn's over on his blind side right now, but he's playing up on the line against the slot man. 5 defensive backs deployed. Maddox, under pressure, throws underneath to the running back. Brown coming out of the backfield.
I think it'd be smart for Maddox and the offensive quarterback coach and coordinator for UCLA to keep thinking about that underneath stuff. And don't force it too far downfield, risking the interception, because they're really playing, I think here, about 70% zone defense with the extra nickel back. They get the drastic change. They got the drastic change a minute ago. He read it and popped the ball to the proper person. Throw it short underneath it.
Back in motion. That's the fullback Smith. Maddox straight back, has a receiver open for the first down. Curled him underneath, and Reggie Moore inside of David Key for the first down. As time runs out on the third, we'll return with more after this message and a word from our ABC station. I mean, Dick.
Many times you wonder why people are right here to move. He goes in motion to the left. Now watch the safety, Veda Murray, move over with him. Now he cannot help to the right side of the formation. So you get the single one-on-one coverage.
And it's
that's why you use motion.
First and 10 for the Bruins now. The ball is at the Wolverine 43. UCLA going in to that stiff breeze here for the final 15 minutes. Needing a couple of scores. And Maddox keeps it incomplete. Threw the ball a little low, and now there is a penalty marker coming down in the neighborhood of Reggie Moore, the wide receiver who went down on the carpet over there. Let's see what they call Otis Williams, the nickel man.
Boy, he really put, Otis Williams put Maddox down, I'll tell you.
We have 2 flags. We have an offsides on defense. We have a personal foul on defense. They will take the personal foul.
And that will make Moeller extremely unhappy in this situation.
Here's Maddox finding out what it's like to play in the Big Ten, major college football. Watch his shot. He gets the ball. Here comes Otis Williams right there. Bam, did he put him down. And here's the possible spear that maybe was the personal foul coming up on this next shot. Going down for the ball. The ball's down the ground. Yeah, no question about that. No call for that. That's a dumb move. I'm sure it's not a deliberate move, but it's a dumb move.
So that gives UCLA a first down at the Michigan 28-yard line. Now Tommy Maddox in striking distance again. He's been shut down here in the second half. They trailed 21-0.
If Michigan's going to run a blitz or anything like that, they like to do it. That formation, they audible out of the coverage they were in. Better throw it.
Maddox throws a bad pass that is intercepted by Eric Anderson. And the defense comes up with a huge one here in Ann Arbor.
The defenders are pushing his offensive offensive lineman right back in his lap. You see Chris Hutchinson pushing him right back in his lap. He's going to go ahead and try to throw it anyway. He moves back and throws it, not seeing Milligan coming right to left. A rookie mistake. Is he excited, huh? Mr. Milligan. Parents are Ohio State graduates. That's Anderson, yeah, excuse me.
First and 10 for the Wolverines.
I saw that. I thought that was Milligan.
Now Greg Skrepenek and that offensive line bend down, and they'll try to take some time off this clock. They'll try to give you an old-style Bo Schembechler ball control attack here. They lead the fullback. And let's get down to Mark, who's with Greg's parents right now.
Yeah, Brent, you really don't have to guess whose parents these are. Got the button here, Greg Skrepenek, and the number 75 jersey. What do you feed a guy 322 pounds when he comes home for the weekend?
Anything and everything.
You guys came a long way from Pennsylvania, 510 miles in South Bend, Indiana before that. A lot of miles in the car, Mr. Skrepenek.
It's worth it. Everybody would do it for their own son. It's not too much of a sacrifice.
Your thoughts on the game today?
I hope they win.
Defense has to get a little tougher.
Brent, Mr. and Mrs. Skrepenek.
And John Vaughn breaks free behind another devastating block by that offensive line. Eric Turner brings him down. 38 more yards for John Vaughn.
We've got a low-angle shot coming at you. Visualize you having to be the linebacker to back up this line like Stacey Argo was there. Poor tackling right there by Collier, who's filling in. Poor tackling. Now there's Turner trying to get him down. He used a good stiff arm technique. Now that stiff arm technique was probably originally taught here by Fritz Kreisler, wasn't it?
214 yards for Vaughn. His second 200-yard ball game. He rambled for that against Notre Dame. You know, in talking to some scouts, they said Notre Dame was a little bit better, but it's just possible that Michigan is the second best football team in the country. Well, offensively, they've gotten the job done. Defensively, there are still some questions to be answered. We're coming right back to Ann Arbor.
There's no...
And next Saturday on ABC, take a look at some Heisman hopefuls. Todd Marinovich and fifth-ranked USC Trojans will head to Ohio State to take on the tough Buckeyes. Some of you will see fourth-ranked BYU with Ty Detmer at the helm when they play Bill Musgrave of the Oregon Ducks. Live coverage of those regional games at 3:30 Eastern next Saturday on ABC. Here, Michigan trying to score for the first time in the second half of this game. Alan Jefferson replaced Vaughn that time. Bruce Walker bringing him down. And Vaughn becomes the first Michigan back to gain 200 yards in back-to-back games. And they've had some good ones come through here, too.
You know, he couldn't have been a total surprise in the Notre Dame game to the coaching staff because he ran for 165 yards in the spring game. So they knew they had something there.
Second and long here, Dick, against this UCLA defense for Gerback. They'll try Vaughn on that cutback move of his, and that time it was Pfeiffer, number 40, anticipating that and bringing him down. That great zone blocking that you described on Michigan's initial drive of the game. They go 80 yards for a touchdown, and the backs will come up, and if the hole is there, they follow it. If not, they just cut back off the other side.
And what you really need is a great backside block to stop the pursuit from coming down.
He was tripped up that time. Beautiful defense by Deion Lambert, number 26.
Deion did a real nice job on that. He's been a good football player for him. He started 11 games last year, had one interception, made 89 tackles.
On fourth down, Gary Moeller opts to go for the field goal here, leading it by 13. So this would give him a 16-point lead in the game if it's successful.
Well, he was 3 for 3 last year from this distance.
But he has not had a good day kicking the ball, and Bunch, the fullback, a little slow getting over there to the wing. Now he sets up.
Now picture the angle he'd have if that goalpost was 4 foot 10 inches shorter. I mean, narrower. Tough angle.
Hits this one. Shady said, I'm not going to be worried about that. 31-15 right now. We'll be right back. Successful voyage to the moon, and there's probably a Wolverine pennant up there right now, even as we speak. 31-15, Michigan with the lead, and Peter Elizabeth will come in and replace Carlson as the kickoff man. And this one to Brown.
Oh, what a block.
Up to the 25. It freed him a little bit, Coach. He finally steps out at the 38-yard line. You enjoy that blocking and tackling more than anything in the world.
Robin Cole, number 15, a linebacker that's on the returning team. Follow it to the right corner of your screen now. We didn't get there. Yeah, we didn't get to see it. It was a devastating block. Oh gosh.
I don't know whether I'll take your word for it or not. No, I guess I will.
You better. I need all the help I can get.
First and 10 now for UCLA. They trail it 31-15, 11:45, and Tommy Maddox has found it tough going here in the second half of this game. They have shut down the freshman. He'll go from the shotgun. 3 wide receivers. Slot man up there to his left.
So back to 4 defensive backs in there too, not 5 defensive backs.
Incomplete. Rattled just a bit. Remember, they have put a couple of good licks on Maddox in this half. And the redshirt freshman.
And what he's done a good job of moving the ball down, but not inside the 20. There's where he's throwing the ball away, getting a turnover. A little tighter coverage. People can play it tighter down there, less area to defend. Have to be a little more disciplined in your throw.
2nd and 10. Avoid the pressure of Chris Hutchinson, and down he goes. So with Dick Vermeil and Mark Jones, I'm Brent Musburger. Ann Arbor, Michigan. The Wolverines jumped out to a 21-0 lead. Then that young man, Tommy Maddox, rallied UCLA. It is now 31-15 as the Wolverine defense has tightened up here in the second half. 11-14 to go in this game.
That's it.
And Maddox picks it up. Comes back, deflected, almost intercepted and incomplete. That was Eric Anderson, who just intercepted a ball a short time ago, who deflects that one.
Here he is to the right side of your screen. Good jumping ability, gets way up there and knocks it down. That guy was an athlete. You can see that more than just a football player in high school. He was a fine basketball player, all conference 3 times. And that's where you get those overall athletic skills.
There's enough basketball players to help Steve Fisher and Jim Herrick in this game.
They say their summer basketball team here on the football team is really a real good basketball team.
Welburn lets this one bounce. And it takes a UCLA roll. It'll be down inside the 10-yard line.
You know, talking again about the basketball team, Veda Murray told me that the big offensive tackle on the basketball team, Greg Skrefkanet, can do a 360 slam dunk. Can you believe that?
That slams a pizza pretty fast, too.
Yeah, I think probably 4 or 5 a day. But he can stuff it. He can stuff it.
Speaking of basketball, let's get out of Mark.
Rip Wellborn and a couple of other guys on this Michigan Wolverine football team have issued a challenge to Steve Fisher and his guys, saying, come on with it, because they got some guys that can play some serious hoops.
No way, Mark, will they accept that. You're not going to have bodies flying with the basketball season coming up here soon. 1st and 10 now, and Michigan runs Bernie Leggett, number 40, behind the left side of that offensive line. 10:44 to go. UCLA trailing it by 16, 31-15. Certainly still hope when you've got the 2-point conversion in college football. You need a couple of scores. But now Michigan, which has gone the whole game without a huddle, continues to operate out of that tempo, and they lead at 31-15. Jefferson, and it was Eric Turner who had to cut him off.
Now what you're going to notice from the end zone shot of this is that they're going to come off at an angle. They're going to come off at an angle like this. And what you need on that is one cutoff block on the backside so you get it this way, and then you come on the cutback. Did a real good sheet. Gets it stretched, gets it stretched, gets it stretched. Now he needs one cutoff block, and he got it from his tight end, Tony McGee, number 88.
First and 10 for the Wolverines. Alexander. Oh, good defense that time. Dion Lambert moving into the hole.
See him giving the signals right now, calling his plays. He is deeply involved in the technical side of this game. He loves it.
You know, one of the things I think you can do with him is read his lips.
We better not always put him on national television, I'll tell you that.
We're calling those plays. I want to see another shot of that. Maybe we'll get an opportunity down here on the sideline. This is second and long.
Oh, good tackling.
Lambert taking on Ricky Powers, the freshman from Akron, Ohio. Now here is Moeller. Play is coming down. What was that, step 10?
Oh, he's telling them to take their time now. They had no sense in hurrying when you got, you have the 16-point lead with 8 minutes to go. Take your time.
We got 8:55 to go. We can have Gary help us broadcast the game. This is going to be something.
At least we know what's going on then, wouldn't we?
It would help. Gerback. Long, the receiver broke the other way.
Miscommunication.
Didn't read lips very well that time. Here with a sellout crowd in Ann Arbor. Michigan leading UCLA 31-15.
See, he's not going to allow you to really huddle up on your punt return team either. You got to line up and get ready to go. So you have to make all your calls on the sidelines just as they're doing.
Won't even know what happened in that last pattern.
That's a better punt.
Wardo Ascona, a Canadian.
Not as good as it looked from here.
No, the punters have not been all-American variety here this afternoon. 31-15, and we're coming back. Terry Donahue, the only man to win 7 consecutive bowl games, put together a quality program out in Los Angeles. Struggled last year, 3-7-1. Discovered a phenom last week against Stanford. Under pressure here from Michigan. Trailing at 31-15. 8.5 minutes to go. Inside handoff. Does not fool anyone from that shotgun. Eric Newt making the stop for Moeller and the Wolverines.
Well, they ran real well from the shotgun last week against Stanford. Now, Michigan has seen it for a week. They're prepared for it. A little tougher to get the job done.
From overhead, Maddox in the shotgun.
Isn't that a great shot?
For a change of pace. Maddox is back. Going to air it out long. Going to Moore. He's got it. Inside the 15-yard line. Michael Moore, defended by Veda Murray, and he was all over him, and he still made the catch. And time has not yet run out on UCLA. Hold on, everybody.
A ball thrown like that, slow and right down the middle like that. Normally, the safety would pick it up, and pick it off. But Otis Williams, for some reason, just didn't make the move to go over there and make the play. But it was a well-thrown ball, right where it had to be.
Kevin Smith now, the lone setback.
No huddle by UCLA.
Double tight end, slot formation to the right. Maddox will go Smith up the middle to the 10-yard line, where it will be second down for the Bruins. Dick, you did not like UCLA's play selection late in the first half, and you had some questions about it. Now, what could they do a little bit differently here? They've got a second down. They can get a first down inside the 5-yard line. What would you like to see them try?
Well, I just, talking with you at halftime, I just questioned that third down call, trying to run it in there. But it goes back to Homer's philosophy and success at Alabama. I think the crossing patterns down in here like that will really work good. But the running stuff...
Again, the running play does not work. And it was a great defensive play by Stanley.
See, Michigan is more apt to come after you down here where they have less ground to cover pass defense-wise. So they can go ahead and bring linebackers and that kind of stuff and tie up secondary people playing man-to-man. You might as well try to throw against that one-on-one coverage.
Now, Dick, they're looking at pass defense this time. They've been ready for Maddox. Now, how can he throw and be successful here?
And he's got to think of 2 downs for a first down.
On 3rd down, the offensive line gives him protection. He'll throw now underneath to Smith. This is going to be short. Smith puts it down. It was a fumble. Michigan jumping on the ball. The ball was on the carpet after he caught it. And he appeared to get back on it with his back. Let's see what happens. Welburn did the job defensively.
Everybody's trying to determine.
They keep the ball. And La Chapelle, number 88,
let's take a look at that
in
right
there
now.
at the bottom.
Right in the middle screen, ball in the right hand. The ball goes out. It's out right now. It's on the turf. Who's going to get it? He must have stole it right there because it looked like Michigan had it right there. But Smith, being the big, strong guy, probably wrestled it away.
La Chapelle came out of that pile. He's in on the other side, and he had the ball. Now, it is 4th down. Field goal doesn't mean much now. Last 6 minutes, they trail it by 16. Donahue and the Bruins need a touchdown. And here's 4th down.
Looks like they're going to play zone coverage, yep.
And it goes over to Michigan.
That's a backward pass. That's a backward pass.
And it is finally picked up. Ball is still free on the carpet.
See, he took that ball and threw it backwards. That's still live. Craig Nowitzki, the tackle, picked it up. Inexperienced. See what happens there. Michigan went to the zone defense.
Now, the officials had blown it dead back here at the 31-yard line. When it was picked up, they had run it out of bounds.
That's a lateral all the way. Taking a look at it, see? Shotgunning back there. Initially has time, but the coverage downfield takes where he wanted to go away from it. So he starts scrambling around. Now he spun around. Now he throws it backward. That's a lateral all the way. There's no in the grass in college football, only in the NFL.
And it's a minus 20. As a result, 31-15.
The worst thing UCLA has done today is execute offensively inside the 20-yard line.
They have not been able to put points on the board. We're coming right back. Knew that one between #1 Notre Dame and Michigan State. Coming up next, right here in Ann Arbor, it's 31-15. Michigan leading UCLA. Wolverines with the ball after that lateral attempt backfired on 4th down for the Bruins. 3 times they have moved down inside the 10-yard line, and they've been unable to score a touchdown. As a result, they trail it by 16. Michigan has played the game without huddling on offense, and this man has had another whale of an afternoon. John Vaughn running wild before Turner brings him down.
One of the hardest things to do sometimes, Brent, is evaluate how good a running back like Vaughn is, because he gets so many large running lanes that sometimes just the average back can run efficiently. But I think he goes beyond the average back. Watching him in film last week and seeing some of the great cuts that he made.
Herbeck bringing time down off that clock. And it's Vaughn again.
There's a good move. There's a good move.
Cut away, breaks free. Vaughn free at the 20. He'll score 63 yards.
scrimmage initially. Stacked up, slowed there. Pfeiffer tries to grab a hold of him. He finds the hole, wheels around, and you can see why he won the Junior Olympic 100-meter dash at 10.2. You aren't going to catch him.
63 more yards.
How many yards is that in a day?
288 and 3 touchdowns. Carlson for the extra point and timeout.
Oh!
To be called, and did they get it done in time? I think the referee said timeout was called, even though the ball was snapped behind him.
Hits the holder right in the head.
Oh my! 4:43, and we'll be right back. Well, the second best afternoon ever for a Michigan running back. Record held by Ron Johnson, 347 yards. Now Vaughn with 288, and Carlson ready to attempt the extra point. Ooh, and a little bit of difficulty there between the holder and the kicker.
He put it down and then moved it back. I tell you, you drive a kicker crazy doing something like that.
38-15, 4:43, and now Michigan certainly looms as a team to beat in the Big Ten this year.
Oh, yeah. And then just look at how Illinois is playing right now, beating Colorado last week. Michigan State we'll find out how good they are.
I spoke to John Makovic, speaking of Illinois. You heard those rumors this week, which were broadcast, that he was headed to the Indianapolis Colts as their next head coach, and Makovic said to me that there was absolutely nothing to it, that he had not spoken to anybody in the Colt organization. He wanted Ron Meyer to know that there was nothing to him going after his job. One of the reasons why Jeff George was there, of course, they are celebrating their centennial down in Champaign. And speaking of that, it's unlikely that Jeff will be at any more Illinois games this year. The coaching staff suggested that perhaps he stay home and rest a little bit prior to the Sunday games. And yeah, Dick, I would agree with you that you wouldn't really run in and embrace the Ursays. You'd be real careful as a head coach, unless you like a lot of help.
Unless you're desperate.
Okay. Here's the kick. Fielded now at the 15-yard line. That was Toy, who caught the kick and back out to the 30. And Dick, at this point, you've had an opportunity now to see the Bruin defense. They were really beaten up by Oklahoma. They've had some injuries here today. So what's your feeling overall as they allow this touchdown?
Well, my feeling is if you can't stop the basic draw plays like this one, which also hurt Notre Dame last week, you're in trouble defensively. I think the defense will get much better when they get Rosine Keaton back, and they get Brian Kelly back, and they get Matt Darby back in there, and they mature a little bit. I think 3 weeks down the road, this is going to be a pretty good defensive football game.
Offensively, Maddox in a learning process. He's had some trouble against this defense in the second half, but he hits more that time for a first down.
Beautiful throw. I mean, he throws that ball on a rope.
Let's check in with Roger Twyvell in New York. Roger?
Thank you very much, Brent. And coming up next here on ABC Sports, college football action from East Lansing, Michigan. The band's on the field, and upcoming, it'll be Notre Dame and Michigan State. Let's go back to Brent Musburger.
Thank you, Roger. That's not a bad band there at East Lansing either, come to think of it.
You're a band man, huh?
I think they're one of the great parts of college football. They don't get enough credit. There's the pass, dropped by Moore, a little bit high.
Should catch the ball. Should make that catch.
Watching freshman quarterback develop here brings to mind another question. I want to know your opinion. Todd Marinovich, I read early that he may even leave USC and turn professional and sign a contract. What's Dick Vermeil's opinion about an undergraduate jumping into the NFL and playing?
Well, I really believe he should stay in college, you know, and I think there are a lot of people in the National Football League believe the kids can stay in college, but nowadays with the legal ramifications, they're afraid to say no, you can't, because if it was tested legally, it could affect a lot of other decisions made in rules in the National Football League, and it's getting so really the legal side of everything determines what you can or can't do in the National Football League. I know this, they can play football without him.
That aside, is Marinovich ready physically and mentally for that NFL grind?
I haven't seen him this year. Last year he wasn't ready, but he's going to be a dandy. No question. There's going to be some other people in that same decision. What did Coach Donahue say yesterday in their meeting? We, with the obvious great blue chip freshmen, we aren't going to redshirt him anymore, because chances are we wouldn't have him our senior year. Oh, breakdown.
Miscommunication that time.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, Dick. They're going to play. Next Saturday, on our regionalized coverage here on ABC, Ohio State and Illinois. That is going to be
a good game.
I should say USC and Ohio State. Let me not jump ahead of myself. That game is coming up on October 6th. You're going to see Marinovich go against Ohio State. That'll be a good match for him. Those of you who see that game, and of course those who are watching our game, we'll put over 1,000 yards on that board. Ty Detmer, Bill Musgrave, BYU and Oregon. Really looking forward to seeing that one, because Oregon, a well-coached football team. They'll give BYU some difficulty. This is a punt to Welburn, and the Wolverines now will attempt to bring that clock on down. They're going to win this game here this afternoon. They lead it 38-15. They were very impressive, I think, in two areas. Offensively, the line is great, and then you've got to give the defensive coaches some credit for the adjustments they made at halftime, because Tommy Maddox has not done much here in the second half against them in Ann Arbor.
And they've had, well, he moved the ball, but he didn't do a good job inside the 20-yard line, where it's a little tougher to move the ball, especially throwing.
Dick, let's go down to Mark Jones. Mark?
Brent, just in case his head gets a little too big, Coach Gary Moeller isn't taking any chances. He went over to John Vaughn and said, hey, even I could have run through that hole. It was that big.
And here Ken Solem will get some work taking snaps at quarterback. He hands it off. Ricky Powers, the freshman from Akron, Ohio. So some of the youngsters who work hard in practice now will get some playing time in the final 3 minutes of this game. And then we'll also be selecting a Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the game from each team. And for the 20th year through that Chevrolet Scholarship Program, $1,000 will be donated to the General Scholarship Fund of both Michigan and UCLA. Well, the scoreboard isn't close, but for a time, it was interesting. UCLA staged a rally, but they've been shut down here, and defensively, they are just not getting the job done. Powers breaking free. Eric Turner tackling in there without their other safety, Matt Darby. That's 15 more yards for Michigan.
You're going to see a young freshman running back right now that ran for 2,000 yards his senior year. 19 touchdowns, never carried the ball more than 18 times in any one game. They are really excited about this young man and his potential at Michigan.
All carried by the fullback, 36 Kent. Let's go, guys, let's go! Play for 60! Double 58! Tackle by Walker. Lambert.
Right, about to win for the first time, and one of the reasons why John Vaughn, I think for just a short time, microphone was, I didn't say anything of importance, folks. You didn't listen.
I thought you sounded good.
Here's the young man you spoke about, and he displays some talent. There is a penalty marker thrown downfield, however. Turner was there defensively, and perhaps there was a clip. Something went on downfield. Holding coming out against Michigan. No, and that was downfield.
On people with speed like Michigan has at the tailback position, they're all sprinters. You really have to be disciplined in your angle of pursuit when he gets out there in the perimeter. You've got to take the right angle, or he's going on around the corner.
Dick, that game coming up, Michigan State and Notre Dame. Again, your feelings?
Well, you still have to go with the people that have been winning, and that is Notre Dame, and I'm not a predictor. I'm not Jimmy the Greek, your old sidekick there, but
Jimmy who?
You have to go with what we saw on film last week, and we haven't seen Michigan State, but you'd have to go with the people that have been winning.
Solem is back. Wants to drop the screen pass off, and the only problem
nobody there.
Almost hit one of his offensive linemen.
Well, Bruin down on the turf.
And that's Lambert who was injured. Dion Lambert.
He came into the game with an ankle problem and was questionable. But this looks a little more serious than an ankle right now, the way he's grimacing.
So the young man shaken up. Well, the baseball race is winding down. And Pittsburgh loses a big one to St. Louis, and the Montreal Expos showing a little bit of life in that National League Eastern Division race. And the Mets were stumbling at home in that doubleheader the other night. Total yards, 569 for Michigan.
Holy mackerel. Coach Donahue, I know he's disappointed, but if he comes out of here healthy, which he's got a man down right now, and gets the other people that have been banged up, and let all these young people, there were true freshmen, 3 true freshmen played in the game, a lot of redshirt freshmen. Originally, I think there were 10 redshirt freshmen or sophomores starting in the football game. Get those guys 3 or 4 more weeks under their belts. They'll be a solid club.
Dick, who's the team to beat in the Pac-10?
Well, USC, without a question. When they graduate a lot, but they always reload with the quality athletes, and they're very, very well coached. And, of course, they have the big gun in Marinovich. I'll tell you this. University of Arizona is going to sneak up on some people. We saw them on film, remember, against Illinois in preparation for that one. And they were 9-3 last year.
Solom throwing complete to midfield. That was Yale Van Dyne, number 34, with 1.5 minutes to go. Michigan moves it out to midfield. I must say, I don't remember Bo throwing too often ahead 38-15 with 1.5 minutes to go. That strikes me as a little bit of a different kind of play here in Ann Arbor. You know, maybe your memory plays tricks on you, but I just don't recall it. Run the draw off of that.
Locked up.
Almost getting free as Powers.
He almost got out of Satupi's hand. Coach Muller's going to end up with a team right down to the wire for the Big Ten championship. You watch.
Well, speaking of that, the other coaches voted him the favorite.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
Exactly. And it hasn't happened in the last 90 years. Bo went to back-to-back Rose Bowls, but he was co-champion that one year. So an impressive performance by Michigan here today.
Bernie Leggett, he's running pretty good.
Yeah, we've got an update from Roger Tribal. Roger?
Well, thank you very much, Brent. We got a final in right now, and Syracuse, for the second time this year, has played to a tie. Pittsburgh ties them at 20. Van Pelt with a touchdown pass on 4th and 10, and then a 2-point conversion with 1 minute to go to tie it up. Now back to Brent Musburger.
Let's see, those Syracuse fans can send all those ties back down to Pat Dye in Auburn. Here it is, 3rd down as the clock is running out, and then we'll be sending you along to East Lansing here shortly. That does it. Gary Moeller wins his first as the head coach at Michigan. The players of the game, Tommy Maddox from UCLA, John Vaughn from Michigan. Chevrolet donates $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund to reward outstanding students for their academic achievements and to assist those in financial need. So that wraps it up. 38-15 Michigan. For Dick Vermeil and Mark Jones, I'm Brent Musburger. So long from Ann Arbor. We hope you enjoyed Michigan State and Notre Dame coming up next on ABC.
Stay tuned as the college football excitement continues when the top-ranked Fighting Irish of Notre Dame take on the Michigan State Spartans. It's coming up next on ABC Sports. ABC's College Football has been brought to you by Geo. Get to know Geo. Available right around the corner at your Chevrolet Geo dealers. By USF&G Insurance. Protecting your business, home, auto, and life. USF&G, standing behind the USA. By U.S. Navy. You and the Navy, full speed ahead. And by Serta Perfect Sleeper Mattress. Comfort that'll make you say, I want my Serta. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television.
A promotional fee has been paid to ABC by...
We have 2 flags. We have an offsides on defense. We have a personal foul on defense. they will take the personal foul.
And that will make Moeller extremely unhappy in this situation.
Here's Maddox finding out what it's like to play in the Big Ten in major college football. Watch his shot. He gets the ball. Here comes Otis Williams right there. Bam, did he put him down. And here's the possible spear that maybe was the personal foul coming up on this next shot. Going down for the ball. The ball's down the ground. Yeah, no question about that. No call for that. That's a dumb move. I'm sure it's not a deliberate move, but it's a dumb move.
So that gives UCLA a first down at the Michigan 28-yard line. Now Tommy Maddox in striking distance again. He's been shut down here in the second half. They trailed 21-0.
If Michigan's going to run a blitz or anything like that, they like to do it. That formation, they audible out of the coverage they were in. Better throw it.
Maddox throws a bad pass that is intercepted by Eric Anderson. And the defense comes up with a huge one here in Ann Arbor.
Here Maddox gets back in the pocket and he gets pressured by his own people. The defenders are pushing his offensive lineman right back in his lap. You see Chris Hutchinson pushing him right back in his lap. He's going to go ahead and try to throw it anyway. He moves back and throws it, not seeing Milligan coming right to left. A rookie mistake. Is he excited, huh? Mr. Milligan. Parents are Ohio State graduates. That's Anderson, yeah, excuse me.
First and 10 for the Wolverines.
I saw that. I thought that was Milligan.
Now Greg Skrepanek and that offensive line bend down, and they'll try to take some time off this clock. They'll try to give you an old-style Bo Schembechler ball control attack here. They lead the fullback. And let's get down to Mark, who's with Greg's parents right now.
Yeah, Brent, you really don't have to guess whose parents these are. Got the button here, Greg Skrepanek, and the number 75 jersey. What do you feed a guy 322 pounds when he comes home for the weekend?
Anything and everything.
You guys came a long way from Pennsylvania, 510 miles in South Bend, Indiana. Before that, a lot of miles in the car, Mr. Skrepanek.
It's worth it. Everybody would do it for their own son. It's not too much of a sacrifice.
Your thoughts on the game today?
I hope they win.
Defense has to get a little tougher.
Brent, Mr. and Mrs. Skrepanek.
And John Vaughn breaks free behind another devastating block by that offensive line. Eric Turner brings him down. 38 more yards for John Vaughn.